Today, we'll be talking to several men and women, picking their brains in order to come up with a fail-proof dating guidebook, as you will. I would like to introduce our guests, Colorado,
How you guys doing?
a lady named Dee,
Hi.
and Chris.
What's up?
So, guys, in terms of dating, how do you guys meet potential partners? I know, for instance, with me, I work in an industry where I work with all women. There are no men that that I see like day to day. I'm just not. How do you meet a potential partner? Like, how do you go on a date?
I did the Facebook dating thing. That was interesting.
Ooh.
But normally I meet people like out and about, and that's how I like to meet people.
You know, I do like to meet people out and about, but that never happens. Like, because I guess, like, I don't know, when I'm on like a mission, like for instance, if I'm like, I'm one of those people also that only like makes moves that I have to make. For instance, like I only go to get gas if I'm running out of gas, right? So like it's never like a thing. So if I'm at the gas station, like we're straight back cornrows, not ready to meet anyone. Anyone that comes and talks to me, I'm just like, not interested.
Nah, I meet people. Like I met a dude the other day at my job. I was leaving my job. He was with the FedEx dude. That's what we're gonna call him, FedEx.
FedEx, they're always dropping off the dick. FedEx niggas get all the play, don't they? They're like,
it was just random
package.
But it was just random because like my job was closing, so the inside was closed, my second job, and he was getting there. I felt bad, so like I went and got him some food or whatever, and like I just got his number. He was interested. He had the swag vibe. I go off of vibes. Yeah.
How does that conversation even happen? Like, how did you know that there was like that mutual interest and not just like because sometimes my mind automatically goes to like someone will just be like, oh, I like your hair. And I'll be like, I'm not interested. They'll be like, chill, bitch. Like, how is that established? Did he ask for your number?
Well, I actually asked him for his. It was a vibe though. Like, he was looking, I was looking. I was like,
oh, Kevin Samuels would not approve.
Hey.
What do you guys think? Like, just being guys, like, how do you meet women?
I met my current girlfriend from hosting a function. Like, literally, we were just doing barbecues and trying to meet the community. And it was just a kickback we were hosting, and it was just really good vibes. I asked for a number, and we moved from there. It's kind of hard, like as you get older, especially with like meeting people, because like I said, sometimes like you on a mission, sometimes like you're not really like feeling people. It's not really like the area to be like talking to you. But I feel like as adults, we don't really have a platform for dating. Like, can't really use Tinder now to look for a significant other, because Tinder is usually just used for fucking now.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I tried Facebook dating, but like even Facebook dating, I'm just like, I don't really feel comfortable just through online, like no face-to-face type thing. So I still take people out. I still like host functions to get to know my people and people in my area.
That's a good idea. I feel like that's something though that is like more so something a guy can do. I'm not saying that women can't like host barbecues and shit, but if I think about like, for instance, if I see like flyers with like girls throwing a pool party or something, I'm like, look at these hoes. Look at them trying to like, that seems like something like, even like, because I get invited to like barbecues and kickbacks and all of that, like, but it seems like such a guy thing to do to like promote. Like, even when you see those like promoters, all club promoters are like niggas. You never see like a girl on the Vegas Strip like, come be in our section, bitch. Like, you never see that. Like, but that is a good idea. But I guess like, given you have to have like be sort of established to have like a house and a grill,
yeah,
or a place to rent. Yeah, definitely. Nah, Facebook dating is a lot though. I actually don't like online dating.
I don't know. Like online dating, I am single, so of course I don't have a lot of success with that. There is someone that I am talking to, and it's funny because I didn't meet him. He met me on Tinder. Apparently he swiped right on me before I even got to like see it. Like at the time I wasn't even using Tinder, but the profile was still up. And it's so funny because like my Instagram was tethered to it and he actually slid in my DMs. And it's funny because in his head, when we talk about how we first met, he always is like, that's going to be the story. He met me on the fucking app. And I'm just like, no, bro. Like, you met the old me on some shit. Like, so is everyone here? I think the only one here in a relationship is you, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
My relationship is going good. It's different from my past relationships because this is the first relationship where we're actively like going to therapy. Like we go to relationship counseling. And it's honestly amazing. Like there's a
Like
lot
you hear
of
the reaction, everybody's like,
yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
I wish a nigga would be like, hey, let's go to therapy. What you trying to say?
Well, not because
But
I suggested it to my ex and he was just like, you think we need that?
And that's the word. I was just like that. Like niggas don't go to therapy. We don't. We
Right.
really don't.
Therapy
But
is a blunt in the car listening
You
to
feel me?
Kendrick. That is
It
what-
Some-
It
Or
really
Kevin
is.
Gates, depending on what.
It really is. But like it's helped me find a lot of accountability within myself because I was a toxic nigga. I didn't even know I was like
How so?
like sly remarks, basically turning my emotions off when I get like angry and stuff.
Ooh, the old shutting down cold shoulder.
Yeah,
like,
and
oh.
like when I used to think like I would just go back in my bag because my whole mentality is like, hey, if I'm not feeling something, just go in my bag, do me, and figure it out. And it's like with relationships, you can't do that, especially like with someone that you want to be like significant to you. You can't just like turn off and do you again. So it's helped. Going to therapy has helped me find myself, find how to communicate with my significant other, and it's helped me become a better communicator.
You know
So
what?
Do you
go
go
on.
on your own or do you go as a couple too? Like, do you do it as a couple and individually, or you just do it as a couple?
We have two separate sections. We have our solo session where we talk to our own therapist, and then we have a couple session where it's one therapist. We talk about each side's problems, boons, and they basically help us mesh together and find a consensus.
So is that something like this new way of pretty much like fighting fair, expressing yourself? Is that something that you've learned through couples therapy right now?
Oh yeah, like before I can say I didn't know how to communicate properly. Like I used to try to figure my girlfriend out on using my own perspective rather than sitting down, actually talking, bringing up these subjects. And even for her, she let me know, I was very jaded and closed up in the beginning. She felt like she couldn't talk to me about certain things because she was worried about my reaction about it. And after going to therapy and like slowing down how I speak to her, the way in which I speak to her, and basically talking to my therapist and being like, yo, this is some toxic shit you're doing. You need to take it this way.
You know what's like so crazy? Like hearing you say that, like that's how it lets me know like that I have no business being in a real relationship, because even just like hearing you talk about how intentional you have to be just talking to another person, like I'm just like thinking like that sounds fucking exhausting. Like it literally, like, because I'm the type of person where I do have a filter and I'm respectful and I'm generally polite, but at the same time, like I have no problem when someone says something retarded being like, that is retarded. What's wrong with you? Are you stupid? and I kind of, and I'm like, fuck how you feel. And like, the other thing is too, and the cold shoulder thing is my thing. And I feel like how my mind generalizes just shutting down on someone is like, okay, I told you I don't want to talk about it. You followed me to this other room of the house. You want to talk about it. Now I'm about to cuss you out because I told you I don't want to talk about it. Whereas I don't realize, like, until now I've read a couple books and I started understanding like, hey, that can be a form of narcissism because you're literally leaving that person alone to wrestle with a problem on their own. And, and it shows that you don't give a fuck. It's like, yeah, both of us need to figure this out, but I'm not going to talk about it. And that other person is like, it's eating them up at work and shit. And meanwhile, I'm eating chips and I'm just like doing other shit.
And she's that way. Like she wants to have the conversation right there, right then.
Oh, God.
And what my therapist told me to tell her is like, hey, I need processing time. Like, I need to deal with this by myself. We're still gonna have this conversation. We're just not having it right now. So,
are you a
I
military
think a lot
brat,
of
by
men
the
are
way?
like that too.
yeah, I actually grew up in Wiesbaden. We went to high school
Yes,
together.
I think we're all military brats in that
Please
sense.
about it.
And I
Yeah.
think that comes with having parents in the military. It's literally like we didn't get to be like, I wish I was never born and let's talk. Like, you know, your parents is like, they see you at 6 p.m. You eat, take a bath, go to bed, and the teacher better not be sending me no fucking emails. Like, so, you know, we're on the civilian side and everyone's like, everyone that didn't grow up military, they always want to have a fucking conversation. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. And I'm just like, bro, we didn't talk in my house. It's like, you do what the fuck you gotta do, go to school, and maybe on like the only time your parents, military parents, talk to you when they had to.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, and the talk was always this: we're about to start moving, so pack up your shit. We're going to Fort Bragg.
Say goodbye to your friend group.
Yes. And mind you, you're leaving. When are we leaving? Next Wednesday. Turn in your books.
Shoot, for me, it was like prom, graduate. Okay, we're leaving right after graduation. Yeah.
You could have a whole life. You could be on any sports team, play, have I don't care about that. We gotta go.
But you know what's crazy though? Now that you mention that, I think that's the reason why in relationships it's so easy for me to leave, or I'm so pressed to say sometimes when I shouldn't leave. You know what I'm saying?
Because our attachment is fucked up.
Yeah, like when I'm ready to go, I'm gonna go quick. Like I'll leave everything there. I'll go. But sometimes I'll stay because like, you know, like, damn, I'll never stay nowhere. Let me try. Let me fix it. Let me try. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's
like
either or. It's never in the middle. It's either or.
Yeah, because we were just like taught that it's like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm on like my third new life. Like no bullshit.
Nigga,
like
you know me. I'm on like life number 6.
like,
Life number 10.
Like I have
I'm about to
no
jump boat
problem.
right now.
Like the only thing that's following me is shit on my credit. I have no problem leaving an apartment with all that shit in there. Like
Facts.
all right, so moving right along, so we established you in a relationship. What are some of your dating rules, like because we're going to talk about certain phases in the relationship, because it seems like we're all in different places. And how I kind of categorize this podcast is we're going to talk about the talking stage, then we're going to talk about the first date, and then we're going to talk about a little bit like just really being in a full-blown like committed relationship. So like, what are some of your rules to dating as far as like, I'm trying to find a potential partner? Like, what are your rules, like turnoffs? Like, cause I know for me, one of my things is if I'm on Tinder, Facebook dating, any type of app where I'm seeing this is how you're presenting yourself to the world. If I see a fucking dog in your picture, I hate dog people. I hate niggas that have dogs. I will swipe left. I don't give a fuck if it is goddamn Michael B. Jordan. If there is a dog, I automatically know that I have no space in your life. Like we're just not.
Hey, yo.
What are some dating rules that you guys have?
Well, I'm kind of new to dating, you know, it's weird. I'm new because I did my I got out of a relationship. I did my whole like single stage. Now I'm in the ready to date kind of stage.
I can't. Oh, go ahead. My fault. Oh, go ahead.
And the one thing that is a rule right now is to not put my eggs in one basket, because that's what I've did before. Like I've only talked to one person to see where it goes. And when you're dating, you're supposed to talk to other people. So that's one of my dating rules. Like, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm going to talk to multiple people to like fill everybody out.
Right. I think that. Go on. Go on.
I'm about to say, can we get to the elephant in the room about like how dating is fucked up in general? Like we were talking about before, like how our generation, the 25 plus year old, think about dating, how 40-year-olds think about dating, how the teenagers and the young 20-year-olds, how they think about dating is 3 totally different things.
Well, and that's crazy because I remember being a kid, being a teenager, and this was like when MySpace was the only thing. And, you know, my parents were around with like Black Planet, remember that shit? Mm-hmm. But like my dad telling me things about the first date, like little rules that kind of, you know, didn't hold up with technology. Like, for instance, my dad was like, one of the rules was anytime a guy picks you up for a date, he needs to come to the door. Like literally with phones, a nigga will text you, hey, I'm 3 minutes away. I'm meeting you outside like a fucking Uber. you know?
Nah, you got to come up to the door, definitely.
Yeah, like and that's something that I just feel like even with technology, like of course there are things like, you know, on the first date, my dad always taught me like, unless you have intentions of paying, you don't touch that check. You don't even look at it. You act like if a check comes to the table, my line of vision can be right here. I will start focusing on just because of like that shit that
Me too. I'll look at the candles, like, there's some nice flowers, like.
Or sometimes I might like do that fumble, like, like I'm gonna dig through my purse. But I kind of feel like if I'm digging through my purse, if I'm paying, all the energy that I had to suck your dick is now going to into my wallet.
I'm not even gonna lie. If I pay on the first date, that's the last date. That's gonna be the first and the last date. Ooh. And that's just me because and this goes into dating the type of person that you want to date. To me, the type of man that I want, now that I'm old, now that I have a clear picture of it, because men always talk about submissiveness and stuff, and I had to realize the reason why that I was so gung-ho against, like, you know, you're not supposed to be, you don't have to be submissive to your man. It's because I wasn't dating dudes that I could trust to feel comfortable doing with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So to me, like the type of man I want is kind of traditional, but open-minded to certain things. But to me, the type of man I want, yeah, pretty much. You gotta, you know, pay for the first date.
But here's the thing though, too, that I'm saying, like with technology in our society, most of my relationships now, we definitely Netflix and chill before we go out to an actual dating. So it's like, and that brings me to like the talking stage. So the talking stage, it's a recent article that I thought was super interesting that I read in Glamour magazine. It defined the talking stage as the earliest point in a relationship where you've both expressed mutual interest and you're willing to get to know each other on a deeper level. So like the talking stage almost always in our society comes first. Like back in the day when our parents were dating, it was a let me take you out. That's how I know the difference between like an old head and like another, like someone my age, because like say like I meet someone at a kickback or a function, they're like, hey, come over sometime, we should chill. But like someone from a different generation will be like, let me take you out. And that almost always doesn't line up with me because I'm feeling like I don't fucking know you. What if you murder me? Like I'm not going out in public with you. Like I don't know if I even like you. So like what happens during the talking stage to you guys? What is the talking stage?
That's interesting though, because the talking stage is different to different people. For me, the talking stage is literally the beginning, the dating stage. Like we're talking, we're seeing if we like each other. Like we're going out on dates and stuff. Like, you know, we're texting each other. Like I need to be called on the phone though. That's me. To me, if you can't call me on the phone, if you're just texting me, I'm just not that interested.
You know what's different? I feel like the talking stage with me is the talking stage. I don't assume your full loyalty. I don't expect your loyalty. Like during the talking stage, I still might have jokes like, yeah, all the little bitches that you talk to, all the little hoes, you know, but once you take me on like that restaurant, once you sit down and pull out your wallet, now I'm just like, gotta cut all my niggas off. And you better not be, you know, is that?
See, I wouldn't even do it then though. I would wait until we have like a clear conversation, like, you know, I'm really feeling you, let's date each other exclusively.
But that rarely happens. That conversation I've never had that conversation.
But that's because women generally go straight from, you know, that date. So okay, we're talking. There's never a conversation about exclusivity.
Ooh, so do you think that's why there's so many people just in situationships right now?
Yeah,
because you never have that. Oh,
yeah.
But like what, so do you think if a man never brings up that conversation? Well, because my thing is like, I'm submissive sometimes and sometimes I'm not. Okay. So my thing is like, I'm kind of old fashioned in a way where I feel like a woman sets the tone to a relationship, but not in an alpha way. Like I'll set the tone to a relationship by being feminine and not being like passive aggressive, but like niggas just know what I'm going for and what I'm not going for. And that doesn't mean I have to cuss you out or anything about it. But I feel like initiating certain things, like now we're official. I feel like a man needs to initiate that, just like a proposal or something. That's just my opinion. But if a man doesn't do that, do you think that that's like on purpose so he can have other
no, I think sometimes men, I think sometimes men just don't even think about it. And that's why
why don't you ask the men?
Yeah, yes. We can start the conversation. I've done that before. I'm like, so where are we going with this? Like, where are we at? Like, let me check in. Where are we at? Like, it's okay for us to bring it up, but like, I definitely think it needs to be a conversation. It doesn't matter who who initiates the conversation? It's just a conversation that needs to be had.
Well,
And
men care because when we say, what are we? They're like, here she goes. What are we?
You want to know why? Because you're exactly what the fuck we want you to be right then and there. So you asking about some more shit is literally the wrong answer.
And it be shit we haven't even thought of yet. Some dudes really just be enjoying the moment, and we ain't thinking about anything further. And when the time comes to have that conversation, like, you can let us know we need to have that conversation, but sometimes we really just be blank mind, fucking enjoying each other's company, and we don't think anything past it.
And that's unfortunate for y'all because it's really hard to tell the difference between like someone like that and then someone who generally just wants to just keep fucking you and just likes having sex with you.
Right. Yeah. Because like, I can't think of, I've only had like a couple of real relationships, and I don't remember any time, like, you know how now in our society, how you know that it's official? Soon as a nigga posts me on his page, he's showing his dinner and then looks up and I'm at across from the table. That's how I know that we're officially in a relationship, because it's just showing everybody, you know? And I feel like that's the thing for a lot of women. And that's why a lot of women, they're just like, that's like, it's an unwritten rule that we came up with in society. Like, if that nigga don't post you, he's single. I don't see you.
You know what's
There's
crazy?
no proof of you.
Your phone has a lot more value in your relationship than the words you fucking say.
Oh, absolutely.
Than your word.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want. As soon as you get in the argument, let me see that phone. You know what I'm saying? So once it's to that, let me see that phone, you're already admitting that I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's to that point, what did you do to get your respective other person to be like, hey, I don't fucking trust you. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying?
There's a difference between privacy and being secretive. There's a difference between secrets and privacy.
Phones always existed. Now it's just these apps where, okay, if you wanted to find somebody's secret information back in the day, you find their diary.
So are you trying to say my mama back? You trying to say my mama back in the day was taking my daddy beeper and going through?
Look, yeah, your mama had it figured out, right?
I mean, star 69 came out for a reason.
Oh,
for a reason.
The feds, the Zoom users of the world, the Zoom users came out with star 69.
Because my thing is, like, now in 2022, it don't matter how much I love you. It don't matter how much I'm interested in you. There's somewhat, like, as long as everybody's still on this, hey, this is my phone, this is my passcode, don't touch my phone, I automatically think you on some other shit. Just the way our society is today. Like, why? If I'm like, hey, my phone dead, can I can I call somebody on your phone real quick? And then you got to pick up your phone, unlock that bitch, and then get to the dial pad. I already know what the fuck you doing.
Well,
9 times out of 10.
One thing that I'm learning though too, just in our society, there's no way to, and it's not even our society, it's probably that, you know, people have picked up on it in other, you know, generations too. There is no way that you are going to foolproof prevent someone from cheating on you. There is no way. So literally we have to somehow learn how to exist in a relationship and be comfortable enough where we don't need to check a phone. Like, I'm starting to realize too, like, I read tarot cards. Like, if the cards say you lying, bitch. You lying. I'm not going to be running around the town like Daffy Duck trying to figure out if you lying, going through phones, putting those little apps on my phone. Is he cheating? I'm not doing that, because I've been through enough time, like, in my intuition, if I feel like you're lying, you're lying. And we don't even have to have the conversation about that. If you're cheating, you're cheating. But then it comes down to it. It's just like, I wonder how many times I've accused someone of cheating and they haven't been cheating. You know, that's like another fucking thing. Like, what do you guys think about that shit? And like, and this is as far as like, we're still kind of talking about like the talking stage as well. We kind of got a little bit like off, like as far as like the talking stage. It
still is a talking stage though. That's the crazy thing. This whole thing we explained is still the talking stage.
So when do you, because like the thing is like, I guess how I don't expect complete loyalty from anyone when I first meet them. Like, so mind you, I'm trying to put together in this podcast like a dating guidebook, roughly. When is the time that you're dating someone and you should start moving into the I like you, let's not talk to anyone else, we are exclusive type shit? Is that when you have the first date? Is that?
No, I don't
think it's ever the first date.
Yeah.
Because the first date doesn't really teach you enough about a person. Like I can go out on a first date with somebody, I can really like the person, but then when I hang out with them, it's a totally different vibe, and I can be like, I'm not really feeling that. So for me, like a dating is really easy for men, especially because we can take y'all out, find out your interests and everything like that. But until we get y'all like alone with us, like say, hey, let's Netflix and chill, let's go out and do something together. Or a real vibe is when she brings you around her friends. Because if she can act around her friends the same way that she acts with you, that's how you know it's a full attraction to you. Because it's a way of letting down that guard.
I feel like go.
I was about to say, literally, I was about to roll off of that. Nowadays, you really have to do some white girl shit and dress up as a girl if you really want to know how your significant others feel about you. And hang out with a friend. That's how I feel you don't get the most information. Like, they're gonna tell the truth.
Let me tell you about some crazy shit. There is a point in time where one of my friends, she's like a gay girl, but she was like one of the guys in a group chat, like, you know, but she was a mutual friend with my baby father. And she was in the group chat, the boys group chat, where they talked about bitches and all of this stuff. And I remember there was a point in time where my child's father and I, we were like on and off, but it was never like, in my head at least, a super serious thing. Like I knew that he wasn't the one, but we definitely had that friendship and it was cool and comfortable being around him. And I remember in my head, I was done with him. And of course, you know, a couple of weeks go by, hey, but he hit me with the, I really miss you. I haven't been with anyone but you. And no bullshit, I'm like literally hanging out with the girl that's in the group chat. And I remember seeing the group chat and this nigga was in it just like, just fuck this bitch. Look at this nude, da 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 da. And mind you, he's texting me like, I've been so sad. I'm just saying you can do better. Like all kinds of like shit.
He hit you with that Drake.
Yes, it was definitely. And it literally just let me know. I was just like, bro, you never know how people are with their like real friends. Like I'm watching this shit. I was like watching the group chat and I was like, who is this nigga? You're just like the rest of them.
But that's the thing too. I feel like as women, sometimes we ignore, either purposely or like we just ignore, we're willfully ignorant to certain things because like anybody can tell you anything, but it's always their actions.
Women, we like to, and you know, it's so weird because
we like projects.
Yes, we like to change people. Like we don't understand, like you can buy a house and flip it and it ends up being worth more. If you have a shitty person and you spend all this energy, they're not worth more. It's a total loss, nigga. Like
it's because I feel like women love that success story though. Like once you successfully change a nigga, like that is a success story that gets y'all like a standing ovation and shit.
Right? Like look at Gucci Man and Keisha Kayor.
For real. Like
this nigga's a vegan.
Like, Gucci went to prison. He was like, hey man, take like these millions of dollars, fix our shit. I'm gonna go to jail for a little bit. When I get out, I'm gonna be fit, get my teeth done. Right. And now it's like the best success story ever. And like, you know,
I feel like we heard
niggas. Like
I feel like we heard Beyonce make Upgrade You and we were like, yes, we can upgrade any person. Like any nigga can be upgraded, but nah. Like now that I'm in my 30s, I don't want a project.
I literally just saw a video of Gucci Man in a lagoon. Have y'all seen the Gucci lagoon? He's like, grew up in the lagoon. It's a lagoon. I'm like, where the fuck is this nigga? Like, bro, and I would love, like, that does feel good to be like, I had something to do with that. This nigga's vegan and shit. He's eating mushrooms. Like back then, he literally had a song called Lemon Pepper Wings with the Freeze Cup. Remember that was a lyric in it? And now this nigga's talking about veganism. And like, this is the last nigga back 2011, Brick Squad 1017 that you would imagine being like, nah, watch what you put in your body.
Speaking of them, like even looking at Flocka, like I love Flocka's I love his wife. Like him and his wife's story.
They just separated.
They got divorced.
Yeah,
they did
now. Yes, they just got divorced. Yes. Yeah.
But I did like their relationship because you could tell they really communicated with each other. So and the fact that they're getting divorced now, like I feel like they've tried everything they could try.
And he took accountability too. That's what I really like about it. Because he was like, yo, I fucked up. I ruined part of our marriage. Let's try to fix it. And she helped him become vegan, take care of his health, take care of his career, help his business practices. Like honestly, she helped reconfigure this man's life.
Here's the other thing with that too, though. Like that I think with these power couples and shit, that is like another thing behind it. A lot of these, ever since Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives and things like that, you are able to use that your husband's like success to kind of get on. But once you got on, now you created a whole nother fan base. So she was a way for Waka Flocka to even stay relevant after he was coming out with shit. Because what's the last Waka Flocka song you heard? You saw everything I knew about Waka Flocka after Love and Hip Hop. I learned against my will because of her shit, you know? So of course he ain't leaving her. Of course he'd like come back to the marriage and shit. Like, cause the last song, what did he have that was kind of trash? That Rooster and Marari. Like when he started like performing with white kids and shit. Like, so I feel like sometimes in ways like, what, like I guarantee you, like who is the O Block nigga, like the one that is pretty on now with the dreads? Yes, Lil Durk. His girlfriend right now has her own fan base, her own shit. There's gonna be a point in time where people get sick of Lil Durk talking about where's Pole at. They're gonna get sick of hearing the same shit all the time because he only raps one fucking way about the same type of shit. And then she's gonna have her own shit, and then he's still gonna be making some sort of income, you know.
What's amazing though is that she was about that life before him. Like,
what hit me?
Like she used to pull up on people before she even knew him. Like it wasn't like he brought her into the gang culture. Like she was about it before him.
Well, good for her, because I think now she's selling like makeup and palettes and shit. That's very good for her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like,
I love a good palette.
Give it up for our community. Okay, so moving like through the talking phase, another thing that I wanted to talk about during the talking phase, is it okay to have sex during the talking phase? How soon should you start having sex in the talking phase? I feel like
that's a respectability politics thing, because I feel like it's 2022. Like you can have sex when you feel like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like whenever you feel like, I don't think there's a appropriate or inappropriate time. Now, if you're in a dating phase or even a talking phase, you definitely shouldn't be having sex with everybody. But if you do, that's your business. That's your business.
I also think it's up to personal preference, because my whole mentality is like, why are we building sexual tension for the sake of manners? Like if we want to fuck, we gonna fuck. Like it don't change how I'm gonna talk to you any type of way.
As a man, do you look at her any differently? Like later, if she tries to say I'm not a hoe, and you're like, I fucked you when I first met you, is that something that you're gonna like?
Nah, it's not even like that. Now it does take into account, like if the sex is trash, that's something that I had to put into account. You know, are you going to work with that and you know, try to teach and everything like that? But yeah, I mean, we got to get past.
Now, what if you have sex in the first time and she's just like double gawk slot? You're like, where did you learn this shit?
You gotta.
Will that change how you feel about
most definitely. Then you just like, yo, I just gotta only be fucking with her. Like if it's the best sex I had,
I gotta get her off the streets.
Like if it's the best sex that you've ever had, like why am I going around dating other people and I have what I need right here? Like
right. Can't be out here double cheeked up, as they say on a Thursday. All right. So we covered is sex. I guess sex is okay. I guess it depends on you know, it's funny, like the guy that I'm talking to now, I had sex with him first time I met him. However, we talked every day for like 3 weeks to a month leading up to it. So when we actually first met to face, you know, we're FaceTiming and shit. It was already like, couldn't wait to do. I've been sending you them pics for a reason, you know, but like still it's something that comes up like later. He's just like, yeah, first time I met you. No, that's not how it happened. Like we already gotta like, so I guess like the consensus is, I guess it just depends, you know?
Yeah.
Have you ever in the talking phase like held out? Like wanted to and just like held out? Oh, y'all just nasty.
Nah. Well, not because like I said, I feel like everybody's grown. Like, and in my opinion, like if you feel like I'm a hoe because I slept with you on the first day, you a hoe too. Ho.
You know what's crazy? Like,
let's be real though. If
like,
I look at you and I'm like, hey, I want to approach this girl and talk to her, like I already was like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of her. So whether we fucked on the first night or the first month, nigga, like I still had the same intentions. Not just sex, but obviously I approached you because I got an interest in you. And It's not just I want to read a book with your ass. Probably I want to fuck.
Damn, I wanted to play Scrabble.
But again, it goes into who you're dating, because like say you're dating somebody that's like really into the like Christian or they're really religious. They're probably not gonna want to have sex with you on the first date. You know what I'm saying? Because that's their.
Well, there have been situations like there was a guy that I was talking to like a year ago, and he was like, he came over to my house several times, and no bullshit, this nigga would bring over, he wasn't a nigga, he was a white boy. he was invited to the cookout though, but like he would bring over Uno cards and shit, and no bullshit, we were actually like in the house playing Uno, like, you know. And there was one time where like I was drinking a little bit and I thought about it, and I was like, oh God, what if he tries to like rub on my butt or some type of shit? But literally, like for literally 3 months, we did not have sex at all. And it's so crazy. Like when I tell this story to any of my friends, they're like, bitch, it ain't no way. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't fuck every guy I chill with or fuck every guy I date. And it's not a thing where it's like, I don't want to have any bodies or anything. I feel like in a way, sex is just something that's like, as a woman, I have to be so ready for, like, just mentally, because like I think a little bit of it too that a lot of people don't talk about in the talking stage. You may not be over your last relationship, and I think that was a big thing to me because I was still mentally in love with this guy. Mind you, I like this new friend. I wasn't as lonely when he was around, but I definitely in my head I think I wasn't gonna it's like I told myself like I'm not gonna have sex with him. Like I just enjoy. I don't know if I ever had him on the podcast, he'd probably be like, you raggedy tease. You know how white people be, such a babe, but you're such a tease, you know. But what do you like? Have you ever like been in a situation where, and I wasn't even necessarily friend zoning him, but I just knew that like I didn't want to take him through that retarded rigmarole of like what's next, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to be with someone.
Does it ruin the perspective, like the perspective of the relationship, if you hold out and then y'all have sex and the sex is trash?
Ooh. Well, I don't know. I think that means a lot more to men because like, honestly, honest to God, like to me being, and I hope my dad never listens to this podcast, to me being penetrated just feels the same. Like it just fucking feels the same. Like, no, and I'm saying there's different guys that have different moves and different grinding and shit. But like, okay, let's be clear. I'm talking about a white boy here. Like, yeah, he went to an HBCU, but like I wasn't like, like I wasn't. He was probably into a bunch of weird shit, like you know, and I didn't want to like find that out. Like I'm not saying that I wouldn't like look. I don't know if the sex was trash. Like I don't know. Like I feel like guys feel like sex is trash more than women. What do you think, D?
Nah, sex is trash. Sex can be trash. And I feel like the reason why sex is trash is because it's trash and everybody's like faking it. Like, oh, it was good. It was good. I feel like that guys can hide the fact that sex is trash irregardless. You know what I'm saying? But like, nah.
I've had 3 experiences. You got girls that literally lay down and don't do nothing and expect you to do all the work. Like I would definitely consider that ultimately trash. But y'all women, y'all perform in like really weird different ways. Like half of y'all, 9 times out of 10, y'all want to have like a zane sex experience, but y'all only want to have that with certain people. For real. So, and under certain circumstances. So I done met plenty of girls who done said their sex was trash, and then nigga, they wanted to get choked the fuck out while they was fucking having sex, get hit from the back. I ain't never experienced that shit before. And then when I do it, they be like, oh wow, that shit was crazy. I never had sex like that before. Yada 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 yada. So like, it's really like on y'all for real about sex because y'all desires be off the walls. Niggas, they going for one mission, nigga.
Yeah, men really don't have fantasies. Like highlight of our day could be, you know, playing 2K, get some head. Like that's an ovation right there. Like
we telling everybody about that shit, nigga. We hopping on the phone like, hey yo,
we'll be talking about it for 2 months, man.
I just wouldn't want anyone to balance a controller on my back. Okay, like first of all, I am a mother. Like, don't you ever?
Hell yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like when it comes to bad.
Your opinion on that.
I feel like when it comes to like bad sex, I think that's why, like, you know, being older, I wouldn't want to, like, if I do have bad sex, I'd want it to be in a safe space, you know, where, like, say if a guy comes too fast, I'm like, oh, you know, I love you though. Fuck it, it happens. Like, sometimes your dick is soft. Like, you know, I wouldn't want to be in a situation where you're just like, this is the only connection I have to you. You know, that's why I feel like sometimes maybe we should wait it out, because sex is a thing where, like, it's such a chemical reaction and it's so many variables that are going at one time. Like, for you to connect with someone, you got to think, you got to perform physically, and you got to be in the right state emotionally, like, you know, for good sex to happen. Like, you have to have this rhythm and it's like the chances of you having really, really good sex is not, it's not that, like, easy. Like, it isn't.
Who
A
are
lot
you
of
having
shit.
sex with?
Maybe I'm not having enough sex. Like, maybe I'm not, like.
No, because I feel like what you said is valid, but I also feel like it comes down to chemistry, because I've had really good sex with people and I've had really bad sex with people. You know what I'm saying? But it all depends on the person.
I feel like too,
because every person has, like, you know, everybody has a bad day, but some people have bad years.
Yeah, I like, honestly, to me, like, sex isn't that, like, super important in a relationship. Like, I'm not one of those people where it's just like every day we got to have sex at least once. Like, I'm not one of those, like, people, but I definitely, like, I don't know, I feel like
we don't have to have sex often, but when we do have sex, it better be good.
yeah,
And that's like a difference between, like, spontaneous sex and planned sex. Like, spontaneous sex is not always going to be great, but if you have time to plan, you can get your stamina up, have you some juice.
oh
It's
yeah
over.
yeah, because, like, I don't know, I think maybe, like, the antidepressant that I'm on, my libido is gone any fucking way.
Well, no, and then some
Like,
people don't some people don't take the time to learn people, because different people like different things during sex.
yeah, like, because there's some just, I feel like how I present myself to the world, like, people see me and they're like, here's this Instagram baddie, and they just, like, want to fuck me, and I'm like, does this nigga know that I can draw? Does he know? Like, hold my fucking hand. Like, don't just, you know. What were you saying?
What about actually creating a fucking mood? So I guess more of, like, planned sex, because I would say, like, I've had better planned sex than spontaneous sex. Like, if I wanted to, like, just, I'm horny as shit, I needed to get a nut off, so I find somebody I need to fuck real quick, and then I get that off. I enjoy that far less than I'd be like, hey, why don't you get dressed today and then we go out? Then I see the person that I want to fuck at a peak, you know what I'm saying? Then we're drinking, we're smoking, we're doing everything to set up a better mood. So when it's actually time to actually we do it, it's actually a better experience. I've actually had better experiences planning sex than actually, and not even planning sex. It's planning a nice night that obviously ends with sex versus just like, hey, you want to come fuck?
I think I yeah, like, and I think my lifestyle is different. Like, I don't even have hoes right now. I'm not accessible to even have that let me get a nut off type thing. And I'm not even, like, you know, and some women are. I'm not saying that, you know, like, oh, I'm trying to be all, you know, prissy or whatever, that I'm better than anyone, but I don't even have that type of sex. So I guess anytime that I do have sex, it's, you know, the person I've been dealing with for a couple years now. So it's like, when we do finally see each other, it is a thing. It is like, oh, I'm gonna see you tonight. Okay, cool. So I already know I'm shaving my legs. It's already, like, a thing, because I don't have one night stands. I just don't find, like, I just mentally don't want to put myself in any more awkward situations than the ones I already have to be in, you know.
Well, for me, like, because, you know, we're mothers, we have to plan it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's why I'm, like, so anti-trash sex, because, like, I have to plan it. So we're planning it because I have kids. I have to work around my kids. I have to make sure my kids straight. Then I'm out to do what I do. But it's a plan.
That's a motherfucking lie. I was informed the other day by a good friend of mine, the best people be having sex mid fucking day, do weird shit like, hey, I left my jacket at my friend's house. Let me call it Uber and they'll get some dick. And then, like, I guess that's planned, but that's spontaneous. I'm just saying, it's a little story I heard. You know what I'm saying? A little anonymous story.
You guys got to get away from each other. There's a little bit of a feedback loop going on.
Yeah, because you want to fucking come in my room.
All right, let's move right along. With the ghosting state, well, not the ghosting, with the talking stage, is it okay to ghost?
No.
Nah.
My experience, hell nah.
I feel like you're an asshole. I feel like everybody, at least I'm gonna tell you, like, this ain't working. Like, that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like ghosting is like a cowardly thing.
Yeah.
But what is ghosting if we already established that we're going to just have sex? I don't have to talk to you every day.
Well, no, we're saying,
and now you just all of a sudden want to talk to me every day.
Well, no, ghosting is when you just drop off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and you don't respond to them, whether it's ever the talking stage, whether you're just like hooking up. It's just like you're just not communicating with this person at all.
Oh no, that's nah. I mean, yeah. If I'm fucking with you, and then all of a sudden you just stop fucking talking to me, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I've ghosted people a lot. That's kind of like my move. Like if I have like, because here's my thing, if I go on a date or whatever, you already know how I am on the date if I'm going to be talking to you again. Like, because the look on my face is like, I'm never coming here again. Like literally, if like my arms are folded, like I still got my purse on at the table, like you should already know that.
Right. I don't think that's ghosting.
Well, no, because sometimes men are fucking stupid, and sometimes men think with their egos. Like for instance, there was this guy that like I went on one date with, and he looked exactly like Drake. He looked like Drake, except, and he knew how he carried himself on the date was like he carried himself like women don't have boundaries with him. Like they because of how he looks, like you can tell how certain men carry themselves. Like, yeah, I get pussy, I do this and this. I noticed on our first date, I show up at the table and his friend is sitting there. So I'm automatically just like, you invited me out and you are hanging out with your friend. Like I'm just now meeting you. Now I have to meet your friends. Like now I don't want to be here. And the other thing is too, like they're having sidebar conversations about fucking sports. And now I'm just in my head, just like, I'm trying to like think, should I fake cramps? Should I like just fucking leave? And then the other thing is too, it's our first date. And he's wearing like a hoodie, not even a crisp hoodie. Like he's wearing a hoodie. Like, you know, when you wash a hoodie too much and it's like little balls that you can pick off that bitch. I'm like, you couldn't lint roll. Like, first of all, I'm a badass bitch. I got fake titties. I'm like, what? And then like, so after that fucking date, mind you, and this is where the bouginess comes out. He's like, let's go to this cigar bar. First of all, what part of me screams that I smoke motherfucking cigars? Anyone that knows me, if you were to take me on a date, do you think that I'm a bitch that's going to go to a cigar bar? Not talking shit about any bitch that do.
Don't sleep on them. I heard they dope.
I'm not going to no cigar bar.
But like I heard they dope. Like they have like special sections or whatever for people that don't smoke cigars with the drink. It's more like a lounge. Like I'm in this luxury group or whatever. Like
promote and shout them out.
Black girls in luxury. But like, and I've seen it, and it's actually like a lounge type situation. Like, you know, you have your area where, you know, you can sit and smoke cigars if you want to, but you have your area where you can sit and drink. And it's kind of like a hookah kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah, but on the first date, would you take a bitch to a cigar bar? I walk around looking like the Black Ariana Grande. Do you think I want to go to a cigar bar?
Nah, but they're very, but what I'm saying is like cigar bars and stuff are very like upscale. Now, I don't know why he wanted to go to a cigar bar in like a hoodie that wasn't lint rolled, because it's like a suit and tie type vibe. But like, no, that's definitely that's actually a really good first date.
Right.
He just wasn't the person to go on the first date with.
So a cigar bar with his friend. So I'm now a +1 to you and your friend that are going to be smoking cigars. And I'm already thinking like, first of all, my wig came looking like a Coachella invitation. I got a $500 wig. You think I want cigar smoke on my motherfucking wig? So here's the other thing. Here's strike 3 with that fucking date. We're standing outside of the cigar bar. You don't even have a reservation. So it's 15 people in front of us. We're standing on the street and I'm thinking like, my nigga, it is November. I don't wait outside for shit. I am a fine ass bitch. Like I've never ever waited in line for anything. Now I have to wait in a line with you and your friend to do some shit that I don't want to fucking do. And then he's looking at me the whole time. And he's, mind you, I have like a Gucci fucking North Face coat on. So he's like playfully joking, how much you spent on that? And I'm thinking way more than that fucking jacket that you done rolled off after you took your SATs, bro. And then like he asked me, he's like, oh, well, if you don't want it, we can just get a bottle and we can go back to my hotel. I'm staying at the Sleep Inn. And I was like, the Sleep Inn? Drake? First of all, even if I was gonna fuck you, I'm not getting fucked in no Sleep Inn. What?
I don't know, first date. Like,
What? And what? Like, and why are you at the sleep-in? Are you homeless? Like, we're bro, it was so fucking bad. Like the whole date, I literally faked a stomach ache, I faked cramps, and I drove all the way the fuck back home. For the next couple of weeks, he's good morning, beautiful. Hey, can I take you out again? I ghosted the shit out of him because he should have known you were fucking up the whole time. And then a week after that, he was like, for real, should I just stop trying? Or like, after a couple of good mornings I'd ignored. And I said, look, I'm not having a good time. And he was like, oh, you should have known that I was going to meet up with my friends, but all right, respect. And I was just like red, left on red.
I feel like as men, the bar is so low, we don't even know when we're overachieving. Like I've heard as men, we hear so many stories about niggas that have gotten away with shit that we're just like, wow, I could never do that. But then like the bar's so low, they just getting away with it. And I'm just like, how? Like how can y'all be like this? And then you'll look at like relationships as a whole when women are like niggas ain't shit and shit like that. And we're like, nah, we're not all like that, because we're really not. But it's constant just niggas just lowering and lowering the bar. And it's like that feeling like when you do natural stuff that you were just taught through like adulthood, through like your parents and stuff, like this is how you treat a woman, this is how you take them out, and they think that you're going above and beyond, and you just like, nah, this should be normal. Like this should be a normal thing.
Like, so speaking of like shit that is normal and abnormal, what are some red flags in like the talking stage? One thing, my dad told me this story recently. He said that he went to it was this girl that they were on a date with or whatever. He paid and all this shit. They went to dinner, and then it's like 10 o'clock at night, and she texts him, hey, you want to come over and watch TV or something? And my dad was like, okay, shit, fuck it, cool. Goes over there, and he notices that like the television is like disconnected, and he's just like, sit on the couch, and he's like, what's up with your TV? And she's like, can you cash at me $100 because my cable is off? And he said that like, no bullshit, he was like, I'm going. Like, I think that is a red flag too in dating, when someone like ask you for money.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a red flag. I've had dudes like, hey, can you cash out me $20?
Dudes,
no, red flag. Bye. Yes, I've had dudes. And that goes into what Chris was saying when he was like, the bar is set low. Like the bar is set low. And I feel like as women, we have to take responsibility for the bars being set low because we accept the shit. Yeah. Like, how can we talk shit about somebody that's not shit when we're accepting the behavior? We said it was acceptable because we're with them. We're accepting it. We're taking it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we have to take responsibility. Yeah, there's dudes that will ask you for money and blocked.
A nigga's not getting, no nigga that I am dating is getting,
that's a turn off,
nothing from me. It's one thing because I'm like a generous person. Like I'm the type of person that I will just cash up people money or some shit, or like say if they got a business, like I'll cash up and be like, this is for the beard oil that you're selling. Like I'm that type of person. But no, I don't like, don't ever ask me to give you no fucking money. Like I don't care. Like, you better put that car title up before you ask me for a motherfucking loan, bitch, because I don't got it.
That goes into the type of person you want to date too.
Yeah,
I don't want to date a dude that has to ask me for money. Like I said, I'm in my 30s. You got to be established at this point.
I feel like everybody be, the talking stage is so widened, like we were talking about. So my thing is, don't let me see how many motherfuckers you're talking to. Like that's like a red flag to me. Like if you don't give a fuck about like how people see you, like if we're on a date and your phone keeps going off and it's like a back-to-back text messages from like a whole bunch of other people, nigga, like in my mind I'm like, all right, bro, like you don't give a fuck. You didn't give a fuck enough to like put your phone on silent or some shit. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like there's,
it's obvious, like the respect. You know what I'm saying? Like
you don't have their attention.
Enough. Right. Like that's an automatic. Like I'm probably not gonna fuck with you again after that. Or if I do, it's probably just gonna be the same way that I feel like you're treating me, like just for sex, or just, you know what I'm saying?
Like, so that's like a red flag with women. If you're just like in your phone the whole time we're like talking.
And another red flag for me, like, because I have kids, so I actually want to date somebody that has kids, and how they speak about their kid's mother could be a red flag for me too.
Oh
Like if
yeah,
you
how they
have
speak
nothing
about
but
the ex, how you speak about the
yeah, if you
ex.
have nothing but bad things to say about her, like you know what I'm saying, you can't find no good. You hate this bitch, this, that, and the third. That's your child's mother. You're like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody
Mm.
has a moment, like you know, where somebody pisses you off. That's different. But if you have nothing ever good to say about the mother of your kids, like that's a red flag to me.
Oh, that's a good one. How you think about
I
the
have
ex.
nothing to ever to say good about my baby mother. I guess I'm gonna walk the red
But
flag.
that's what I'm saying though. Like if you have nothing good to say, sometimes you know you don't have to say nothing at all. Cause like if we're dating and like you know I'm a meet her eventually. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get my own feel for who she is. But again, at the same time, like if my baby fathers piss me off, I'll say it, but I don't make it a point to be like, you know, they ain't shit. They don't ever do like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just because those are my kids' father.
So after
And if
you
we're
meet
dating, if we're gonna
the
get
baby
serious,
mother, it's okay for me to be like they ain't shit after you meet them yourself and
I
see it.
think maybe you should just not talk shit about them at all because the elephant in the room that we're not talking about, you were with him
yes,
long
Yeah.
you
enough to
chose them.
like
You
there was
chose them.
something going on where you had a kid with this person. Y'all were having raw sex. You
Can't
tried
do
it.
nothing but be honest. If you ask me, that's how it is.
I mean, it's one thing. I guess it's how you present that information. Like, you know, I was doing A, B, C, and D, and this is where we are now. But I feel like you should see, I feel like here it kind of ties into one thing. Are you ready to date? Because in my mind, if you have to cash app the girl that you're dating for some money, or if you have to badmouth your baby mother, you're not one emotionally ready to date anyone if you're still like feeling that strongly angry about someone and you're not financially well enough to be trying to find someone new. Like, because I feel like before you start dating, I want to find someone new, you should already kind of have your shit together, you know?
Definitely.
And you shouldn't be like, I'm still going to try to get pussy and tell this girl I'm not ready for a relationship. You know, that's another thing
Yeah.
because that's still like getting someone attached to you. You should be really not even on these apps, my nigga. Like, you don't need to be on any type of match, date, whatever.com. You need to read a book, go to a therapist, you know, get your money up. Like, because it's a lot of people out here dating that have nothing to offer another person, and they're sitting there. A lot of men, I find, what do you bring to the table, bitch? What table? What table you talk about? What do you bring to the table?
Usually men that ask that question, I have to ask, well, what are you looking for in a relationship if you're asking what I can bring to the table? Because a lot of those men say that and they want a submissive woman. But if you want a submissive woman, I don't have to bring shit to the table.
What do you guys
You want me to
feel?
sit at home and manage your household?
Have you ever asked that? Did that guy ask those questions?
For me, pretty much the red flag comes with lack of independence. Like if you don't have your own like financial equity, your own you know, ambitions, things that you want to do in life, it feels like you become an attachment to me and become like a crutch, like something that I have to take care of. And I don't like that. I like independent women. Like my girlfriend now, she is a dental assistant. She wants to go and complete her master's, and we have these conversations where she's like, I want to do these things, and we talk about it. I'm like, okay, so you want to do this, what steps are you taking to get this done? It's different between having the ambition and actually pursuing your own independent careers and stuff. Because for me, with men, even if we don't have a girlfriend or anything like that, no one's gonna sit here and sugarcoat us and take care of us. We have to get it on our own. Like,
Right.
I can't just boss up, look great body, and just, you know, set up shop in someone's life. It don't work that way for me. I ain't got that opportunity.
Because I feel like, you know, a lot of men, they do want to take care of women, but I feel like a lot of women don't really think that you have to, like you said, be independent already. Because like, say, what if you guys are out of the country, like, you know, visiting Cabo or some shit, and you just happen to lose your wallet? Are y'all stuck in Cabo? Or can she dig in her purse and get you guys tickets home? You know? And I feel like there are so many women that are literally just fucking leeches. And the only thing they got is that they're super bad. They got a fat ass, like, you know, and it's just like, there is a lot of guys in relationships right now. If they needed $500, who could they go to? And let's be clear, we're in our 30s. Like we're pushing 30 in our 30s. Like $500, like there have been times where I've needed that and I'm like, fuck. You know, the person that I'm fucking with, can I depend on them to do that as if they were on me too? So I feel like you know, when you're dating, I feel like a lot of times we don't have those real talks about money because it's uncomfortable. There's like some study that they say Americans are more comfortable with talking about the kinky sex that they like than they would talk about their credit score.
Facts.
And that is just like a cultural thing that is insane to me, because like money in every single aspect will affect your relationship, whether you like it or not, in every phase of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's the main reason people get divorced.
Absolutely. Like, and you know, I was in a situation where like, you know, I don't want to throw anyone out, fuck it, it's my podcast. My baby father, when I was dating him, we both worked, we both made close to the same, you know, we weren't balling because we were like early 20, but like anytime I wanted to go out, go to dinner, I was always paying. Like I was always fucking paying. And then I didn't realize like, and he was feeling emasculated by it. Of course, he didn't want to not be in a relationship with me, but it made him feel like shit. And so he would rather just say, I don't want to go anywhere than to just go. And over time that started like fucking with me. I was just like, damn, do you not like me? Do you not want to do this? Do you not want to at least save $10 a week to take me out? My birthday comes once a year. Like, what is this about? And then like, I see how it's so easy for some women to cheat, because there's like some men, as soon as they meet you, they're like, here's some flowers. And you're just like, well, damn, it was that easy, huh? You know, like, so I feel like maybe just like as people, and even Black people too, we need to be more honest with money, because like you know with our society, everybody's fucking balling, ain't they? Everybody on Instagram, everybody I look at, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
y'all balling, huh?
But they give the illusion that they're balling.
Yeah, everybody's showing.
Sometimes, because social media sometimes, and that's what a lot of people need to realize, social media is sometimes an illusion. It's a front. It's a giant ass front. Like, especially we can talk about Will and Jada a little bit, because everybody put that. No, I'm just saying, just in the fact that everybody put that relationship on a pedestal, like, oh, they have the perfect marriage. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're perfect, but they're not. And that illusion was quickly broken. And now everybody's just like, well, shit, that's what I base my relationship on. You should never base your relationship on somebody else's relationship, because those are two individuals with two different problems. They work their problems out on their own.
Everybody based that relationship on how Will treated Jada, not how they were the perfect couple.
But here's what I think is the bigger thing with that. As Black people, a lot of us now, our generation, a lot of us are children of divorce. We haven't seen a lot of examples of two Black people being married. Even in celebrities, you always see a nigga with a white girl or a nigga with an Asian woman. Even Dave Chappelle is with a fucking Asian woman, and I thought he was black as black, like, you know. And so when we do see these couples of like two people that are two A-list actors and they've been together for years, we just naturally, I feel like that is goals, because we don't have a lot of examples of too many like Black love that seems, you know.
But see, it's not perfect, and that's the point I'm getting at.
Right.
Like, in a way, it is goals, because they're still married, correct? They're working through whatever issues they have, and whether or not we see it, but whatever, what they have their life that they show in public, but they have a private life that we're not privy to.
What I feel
like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like any relationship that has you out here being so emotional that you're willing to put your livelihood, your reputation at risk, that is something that you don't need to be in. Like, I miss the days where celebrities, the only time you saw them was when they were doing an interview. You know, nowadays we wake up and see Gucci Man making eggs. What the fuck? I need to see his breakfast, bro. Work on your album. You're spending too much time trying to be relatable. Like, you know, like,
but again, that's something they do for publicity. That's something they do for the public. Right. We forget we're not privy to their actual private lives. We're privy to what is shown, what people expose, but we're not really privy to private lives.
Because we created a society where like your private lives is also part of your whatever that you do. Like, it's not like back in the 90s, I used to love like fucking Kurt Cobain and like a lot of rock stars, because it seemed like the fame was just like an evil byproduct of you just being an artist, you know? But now it's just niggas out here like, look at me, I'm dancing on an escalator, watch this TikTok, hey baby, like, you know, it's just like, I miss those days where I feel like the focus was more on the movie and not Lil Baby.
On what they're doing on their
yeah,
day-to-day
not
life.
the baby and
Or the
Danny
5
Lay.
seconds that we're privy to.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like having an argument on fucking live. It's like, why do I need that?
But you know what's funny about that situation? We were privy to the actual argument. We are not privy to what led up to that argument.
I think that what I'm trying to say is like, why is that even a thing? Why do we need to, like, why do there's no reason that I need to know why you guys are arguing and that the cops are showing up. I literally like learned that against my will.
But you know why? Because we watch it. Because we don't need to see it, but we all watched it.
Yeah,
we all watched Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, we all watched Love and Hip Hop. We all watched the Red Table Talk. We all watched Jocelyn's Cabaret. Like that shit is trash as fuck, but we all still watch it.
Like it's just so much with like society. I feel like now, even like for instance, Moneybagg Yo, his girlfriend Ari. I've never followed her. I don't even follow the Shade Room, but everything I've learned about her, I've learned against my fucking will. Like I literally cannot listen to, like I'll listen to a Moneybagg Yo song and be like, oh, that's him. Like it's just our fucking society that we live in. Like I should know your personal business before I know your artistry, you know? And that's like, that's what we live in now. And then like we watch these relationships and we're like, you know, as Black people, like, oh, I want some shit like that. But do we? Because because
we don't know what it is.
We don't even know what it is and until it's like fucking bad. Like for instance, like Lil Baby. Like he was like literally fucking porn stars and shit, but was taking her out to Mexico. I'm convinced once a nigga take you to Mexico, he's cheating. Like, like I'm convinced. Like once you got you sitting there and you drinking that coconut that's all hacked up with the machete, like this nigga done fucked a couple bitches and it's coming out. Like that is the guilt coconut drink. Like,
so let me ask y'all, well, as women, how do y'all feel about privatized relationships? Like people that don't post their significant other, they don't talk about their love life or anything. You just see
I like
only
that.
the business. Because I'm trying that now. Like me and my girlfriend, we don't post on Facebook. On Facebook, it still looks like I'm single and everything. But when I talk to other people, I have a committed relationship. We're happy. We're in love. But when it comes to social media, I don't post her. I don't talk about my relationship on social media. I don't talk about any problems that I'm going through. All that's left to therapy. And for me personally, it's a sign of relief because I have no output. I have no input from anyone else except her and my therapist.
Is she the
See,
same
I like
way?
that.
If she's the same way, when she gets mad, do you see like one of those memes that's like "fuck niggas"?
it took her a while to understand because she wanted to be like one of those people like, hey, let's post all the time, show like all these pictures of us out and together and stuff. And I let her know, I was like, I used to be with that, but I don't want input from anybody. Like, I don't want anybody to be like, who is this? Where is he from? How does he act this way and stuff like that? Because once that input comes in, whether it's negative or positive, you always take it into consideration.
Yeah, and it's always affecting your relationship. So I would prefer to like keep my relationships off of Facebook.
I think
once you let people in, once you give people a platform to have an opinion on your shit, like it's never going to stop.
I think a little bit with my platform being what it is, Trap Pray Love is like super based in like relationship advice and, you know, love and tarot. I keep everyone on their toes. No one knows what is going on in my relationship, like for real. Like, and I feel like, cause there are times where like, I tell my followers every day I'm a liar. I'd be like, I be fucking lying. Like, that's how, like, it's times where I'm reading tarot cards and I'm like, you know how you know I'm not a fraud? Because I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm reading this shit for me too, bitch. That's how you know I can read cards, because I can't sit here and tell you no good advice. The cards say this, you know. I feel like it depends on your platform too, because there's like a lot of people, like there's YouTuber couples that make money off of presenting that, you know, and like you know, like we all, I think everyone's kind of come to the consensus at this time that social media is fake. It's media.
Yeah.
It is still, but there are things, like, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I see shit on social media and I'm like, damn, I would like to do that. You know, but then you got to think in reality, like, you know, one thing that I saw, like the new thing to date is like go in these museums, go to a museum, when you think about that in real life, that seems like fucking awful. I can't imagine right now. That'll be like negotiating a fucking hostage situation. Trying to get the nigga that I'm talking to go with me to a museum. Like, I can see us getting there and being like, now what? Like, the whole time we'll be there trying to put together a reel. Like, and it's not even fucking fun, you know? Like, I don't know.
Some people like going to museums, but like, you got to make it fun.
Yeah, I remember going to a museum with MJZ because, you know, we were in the DC area, and, you know, DC has the Smithsonian, and we both grew up in that area. And like, you know, I'm a big art person, and they have this museum where it's like all based in surrealist art, and all of those artists are my favorite. And I remember one day for Valentine's Day we went, but it was so fucking crazy because we argued in the car on the way there. So he's like, we're in there looking, and he's like, no, I gotta look at this fucking Dolly painting that doesn't make any sense. Kind of like our relationship, you know? So now we're in this place quietly whispering, arguing, and this she's like, this is fucking hell. I could have been doing some other shit. But all right, I have another question. So what is a first date question that you hate? Is there anything that you don't like to talk about in like the first date? Like, just something that just irritates you? You're sitting at the table and then someone is just like, is there anything that
Samuels?
Oh, bringing
politics.
Definitely politics. I don't want to talk about politics
because I'm passionate. I'm gonna piss you off on politics on my first date. If you get me started, you can't put that battery in my back on the first date.
Oh, politics on a so may I ask, like, your girlfriend, is she black, white, Hispanic? Like, do you mind sharing? She's black. Mm-hmm. So are you guys on the same page in politics?
We are. we are on the same page. It's that for context, my girlfriend is from Alabama, born and raised, grew up in a small predominantly white town, and
pro-lifer just by demographics.
Not pro-lifer, she's pro-choice. It's just that it took her a while to realize she was black. She didn't have that wake up period until she was an adult, and I could see like the hurt. Like, she's finally understanding like what's it like to be black in America.
Oh, so she was wearing Aeropostale and shit. She was one of those girls. I always see those girls. You know how I know when a girl is not raised to be like a nigga, like she wasn't raised in the culture? When those girls, you look at their hair and you're like, what the fuck is going on with your hair? They never know what you know, you see black girls, they should be laid. But then you see the other black girls that's been around white girls, and you're like, you know that ponytail not the same texture as your other shit, right?
Yeah, you can't use that gel, right? That's interesting to me that she's like that from Alabama, though.
So as far as politics, where is what?
Understanding how history happened. Like, I went to an HBCU. I went to Alabama State University.
Okay.
So I would travel to like Tuskegee, Alabama A&M, and learning about how like historically black people have been treated.
Yes.
I have like this, for me, I know it's kind of racist, but I just don't trust white people off bat. Just for historical reasons, I just don't trust white people. Because
the other thing with like, and you know, it's funny, my mom actually said the same thing to me. She stopped me and she was like, I was talking to your sister, and I was like, Ashley really doesn't like white people. And I was like, hey, don't say that. What makes you think that? And she was just like, nah, it's just kind of how you like, you know. But like, you know, only in an HBCU do you really learn about, okay, Civil War happened, and a lot of times with white people, they're like the Civil War, and then randomly Martin Luther King came, and it's like a whole gap where we talk about Jim Crow and the Reconstruction era and the KKK and things like that. And only in an HBU, you know, or if you have like educated parents that really tell you like the systematic racism that we're dealing with now is part of Jim Crow, you know, and a lot of that shit, that it was a lot of time and money spent into putting that shit in, and not a lot of money and effort put to undoing some of that. There's a lot of laws that started in Jim Crow era that still kind of happen now,
like the marijuana laws.
Yeah, and it's a lot of stuff going on. Like, there's certain states, like here's my rule with the US. I don't go to any square states, Any states that are square, no places without beauty supply products, because those are the states that you don't know what the laws are until you break them.
Facts.
Like, I've watched enough Netflix documentaries to know I need to have a full tank of gas and not have a breakdown in this fucking county, bro.
It's like, so my second cousin is Jonathan Majors. He was in Lovecraft Country.
Wow.
So as we're watching Lovecraft Country, I'm sitting there with my girlfriend, and she's like, "Do you think any of this is like over exaggerated?" And I'm like, "No, like this is how it was for Black people back in that time. Like we were not considered people." Like she didn't even know, because she's from Pell City, Alabama. She didn't even know Pell City was right next to Tuscaloosa, which used to be a sunset town. Like she never understood the concept of that.
Yo, you know,
And I
the
was,
Sunset Towns, watching that show was the first time I heard about that. And it's so many
really?
times where you're watching Netflix shit and I'm just like, why the fuck am I learning about this from The Watchmen?
Yeah.
Why
Educate
am
me, 'cause
I
I've-
learning about this from fucking, from them fighting beasts and shit in sci-fi? And it's real. Like, I didn't know about that bombing until I watched The Watchmen.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't learn about that like at all. Like,
See, my daddy taught me a lot of that. Like Juneteenth, I knew about Juneteenth like when I was a child. Like, I guess I'm grateful that my parents actually really and my family made sure I knew everything there was to know about that period in time. Like, I mean, I read Black Boy by Richard Wright when I was like 8.
Yep.
So like I had a full understanding about, like, I remember when I watched Rosewood, and I will not watch that shit to this day because it's so traumatizing. Like,
I'm not familiar. So
everybody should see it once. Everybody should watch it once. It's about this all Black town that white people just came in and massacred every Black person because this one white lady lied about this and said this Black dude whooped her ass when it was actually this white man that she was cheating on her husband with.
So I'm guessing, like, so you and your girlfriend, you're watching Lovecraft Country, and then, she makes the comment, like, is it exaggerated? Does that let you know, like, maybe she's never experienced racism, and so she thinks that, like,
Yeah, like even like when I went and visited our hometown and stuff, the white people are nice. They're very nice people, except they have no accountability. There's no historical ramifications or acknowledgement of what's happened there. They just delete it from the books. So for her to grow up and think, like, everyone has the greatest intentions for you, there's no racism right now, so it couldn't have existed. That was her kind of mentality back then. But now, like, after spending time with me, after researching and seeing, this is how it wasn't really like that. Now her eyes are a little bit more open. And I love that for her. I really do, because she used to think like Martin Luther King was the worst it was, and I was like, that's the sugar, that's the top, like that's what they let you know about.
Right. Like, I just saw something that someone shared on Facebook, and it was like a 35-page post, and every page was like some type of lynching, and I've totally forgot. And like you've seen, it's like 1920, 1915, and I'm like, that wasn't that long ago, where they were,
it's like 2 generations.
Yeah, they were literally just like lynching people, then having the audacity to be like, we're calling this Lynchburg, Virginia. Like, because the racism, like, a lot of that shit. And that's the thing too, where I find a lot of people from these, like, southern states, they'll be like, oh, don't take down that statue. A statue is erasing history. No, it's not, bitch. There's books. Books are the things that tell you this is the history. A statue is what commemorates something. A statue is something to me saying, we love this nigga so much and what he did, we're gonna put up a statue of it. Like, when you think about that, like, as a Black person, you're like, this is fucking Robert E. Lee. Y'all fuck with him. It's not erasing history taking down that statue. I can read a book about all the shit that he did.
Oh yeah, you went to Robert E. Lee middle school, high school. You drive down Robert E. Lee's fucking street and shit.
No,
like, those things should not be in public areas. If anything, they should be in museums with, the little thing that tells you what they're for.
And I feel like too, like, I have a brother and sister, they're twins, and they went to a school, and I remember going to a basketball game, and their fucking mascot is called the Indians. I was like, y'all aren't even like the Warriors, y'all just the Indians. And they're like a couple of white kids, you know, there are a couple of black kids that go to this big white school, and I'm just like, so no one has a problem. Like we're calling it the
Redskins.
we're calling it the Washington football team, and you niggas can just be the Indians, and no one is questioning this. No one has a problem with this. And I'm just like, I think in that way, I am really happy about social media, because one thing, it does really spread information around, because there's a lot of things that I've learned off of Facebook and, you know, things that I have fact checked. And even like, I don't know if you guys have seen the new season of Atlanta.
No, not yet.
It's good.
I haven't watched any season of Atlanta.
Yeah, there's a part, you know, in the first season when they're talking about ghosts that in this underwater town and everything, and that's real. There is literally a town in Georgia that was flooded, and it's like a whole town under this lake that was a kind of like a Tulsa type, like where affluent Black people were, and that is shit that we are not taught. And like, and that's part of the reason I think too, when it comes to like me and interracial relationships, I like to have these conversations with someone that I'm dating and not think about like, do I have to break down systematic racism to this white boy? I know he's been to an HBCU, but you know, I don't, you know,
do you really understand?
Yeah.
Right.
It's
It's
that
kind
goes
of
into
like,
preference. That's why I prefer to date Black men.
but you know, that has been also ingrained into us, because as Black people, I'm sure we've all heard it. If she can't use your comb, don't take her home type shit. That is basically their way of saying like, hey, you are going to have a whole bunch. It's not that we don't like it, but it's going to be some work that you're going to have to put into this type of shit.
But you know what? I feel like not with necessarily with our generation, but with the generation after us, like our kids, I feel like it won't be as big of a deal with our kids.
I don't know, because like,
and I only say that is because like we have people in our generation that still have like that mindset, but a lot of kids that I grew up with, a lot of white kids I grew up with, like they're cool, they understand, like, you know what I'm saying? Now they understand it's their parents and their grandparents that are having a problem reconciling what's going on.
Well, the thing that I think that is important that really might be an obstacle for our kids is because our generation right now really don't understand places of government where power goes. We don't understand the shit that the Supreme Court's doing right now. That is something that is going to affect our kids when they get older.
That is, but you know what? That is our fault, because everybody took U.S. government and everybody took U.S. history, so they should have a basic understanding of how checks and balances work,
the other thing
and how
is
each house of the government works.
But that's,
if they don't understand it, that's their fault.
But going back to the topic, maybe that's something that we should talk about on the first date. Maybe we should be talking about politics in that sense.
Well, no, not the first date, not the first date. Because maybe the second date.
Because another thing is too, like how people don't understand that voting in local government is something that is way super.
That's
like
the most important thing.
Everyone is worried about how federal tax money and presidential power, how that works. And it's so many people right now that didn't even vote for governor of Virginia, and they're wondering why in schools they're passing certain laws where you can't teach critical race theory. That is something that is going to affect my kid next semester coming up. Black History Month is not going to happen in Virginia, because like, and literally we're not teaching people to like, did y'all vote in the last election? Did y'all vote?
Yeah.
When I voted, literally how shit is worded, it is so fucking confusing. The words are like, would you not vote for Article 15 and this and then you don't know what the fuck you voted for until tomorrow you're watching fucking CNN and they're like, guess we're going to Mars, bitch. Guess y'all voted for that shit. Like, I feel like these are things when you're trying to start a family, when you're trying to have like relationships, that it's conversations that like we don't really have at all, and you don't realize.
I think you should have them, but you shouldn't necessarily have them on a date. Like, matter of fact, that's the conversation you should have when you're texting, when you're on the phone, when you're talking. Those are the conversations. That's when you should have those conversations.
Well, you know,
especially with religion too. Religion, I don't want to talk about religion on a date, but it should definitely be a conversation, because if we don't align, like, I can work with differences, but if we're so like polar opposite, like you're so like into your stance and I'm so into my stance, that it's never going to work. Like
I had a conversation. I remember when I was dating my child's father, I was at the point in time where I was like, I didn't really believe in anything, and I wasn't afraid to tell anyone. I was just like, I don't know. I was kind of like brought up with like Buddhist shit, but I guess like, you know, I've grown up like Black, and I don't know what I believe in. And I remember at one point in time, he like threw it in my face. He was like, you don't even believe in God, so you're just out here existing. You don't even believe that anything is going to happen. And I remember literally being like, oh, because Noah is a probable story. A senior citizen gathered all the animals within walking distance and just brought them on a big fucking boat that a senior citizen built. Like, you know, I feel like those are a lot of questions that you kind of like don't want to ask, but that is something definitely like it came up in a heated ass, you know, argument.
But see, it shouldn't come up in an argument. That should have been like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but you know, I'm at the point right now where my kid is 5 and he's starting to ask questions. He asked me the other day, he said, what happens when you die? And I had to call his dad and I said, look, this is what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him some people believe this, some people believe that, and some people believe this. And I hope he never follows up by, what do you believe? Because now, you know, and that's something that I feel like
you should tell him what you believe.
Well, because the thing is, like, I don't want
even if you don't know, because it's okay to not know.
I don't want him scared, you know, because I don't want him scared of things, because death is, look, I don't want my kid having an existential crisis at 5. Okay. Like it's
you can find a way to explain it to him where it's not going to just be like, because like what I'm doing with Jamila, because you know, I'm not a Christian necessarily, but you know, that's how I grew up. I'm not exposing her to it, but I'm also, as she's being exposed to it, I'm also explaining to her what I believe and why I believe it, but in a way that, you know, she can understand.
I'm not taking my kid to church. Like, I've seen too many episodes of a Iyanla Vanzant and heard about little kids getting their peepees touched by like, come on, y'all in the congregation, we're going to take them to this basement in children's church. Like, no, don't tell God. Like, no, I'm not.
See, that's crazy, because that's not my experience. In my experience, they had the regular service on one side of the room and the children's service on the other side of the room. We were all still in the same room.
Even when I was,
but that goes into doing your research. You shouldn't just bring your kid to any church. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I still think they should be exposed to that. Not necessarily because you want them to believe in that, but so they can have understanding and compassion for other people that do believe in that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that's something too, like there's the guy that I'm talking to now. And it's funny because like, we never ever talked about like church and religion and growing up. And one day we were in like a hotel room and I thought I saw like the lyrics to like a Kirk Franklin song. And I just started singing it. I was like, melodies from heaven. And he was just rain. And I was like, that's my nigga. I couldn't have that moment when it was just like an unspoken bond. Like whatever we believed in at the time, but it's just like, you know, I couldn't have that conversation with the white boy that I used to play Uno with. Like, he'd be like, what? Like, there was a point in time where we just knew like that Kirk Franklin song, we knew that that's just part of being Black. And that's something that I feel like maybe I can't date other people. Like, maybe that should be a first date question. What is the rest of this lyric? Rain down on me. What's next?
No, that's a talking question. Hey, what you into? Hey, what do you believe in? Are you a religious person? Like, would you be okay if I'm not necessarily a religious person? That's part of the talking stage.
Right. I feel like there should be Blackness questions too. That should be part of the guidebook, Blackness questions.
Have you listened to Dr. Dre? Do you know who Wu-Tang is? Do you know what the acronym CREAM means?
Right. This is how we chill from 93.
If you hear do you know that Back That Ass Up is about to come on?
Like, they bringing it back for the 99 and which hot boy is still in jail?
What is a dab?
That's actually that is something that has come up in conversation with my girlfriend, because she cooks by measurements and it blows my mind how she does it. Because for me, I've been taught how to cook by my mother and my grandmother, and we don't use measuring pots or like literally
our ancestors tell us how much
they let us know. They let us know. And I remember she was like, I need a quart of flour, and I was like, how much is a quart? Like, I didn't know. Like,
a quart. First of all, I don't trust nobody chicken that's not made in a bag that you done came from Walmart. You better have every Black person right now that know how to cook got a bag of cold flour in their fridge for the next time. Yeah. And it's pre-seasoned. I don't know how healthy that is. It's bits of the chicken and that flour and shit.
We season the chicken and the flour.
Yeah.
Right. And first of all, like, and the other, like, chicken is just one of those things, like, you could just look at it as a nigga and be like, I need mine a little darker than that, baby girl.
or like just little trope. Like our culture is so unique that like we don't have to say anything and understand. Like, say we at a function, if I give you a look saying it's time to go and you give me that same look, we don't have to say anything. We just deuce out. Don't say nothing to nobody.
Or when
Right.
somebody say something crazy, and you like,
Mhm. And there's just certain things in our culture that I feel only dating other people within our culture will be able to progress and understand each other.
Yes, because
Because
we've all kind of had the same, like, upbringing, like in a way. We all had the same upbringing. Like, it's certain shit. Like the other day I had to like actually spank my son, and I literally had to like play it through my head. I was like, I gotta be serious. He gotta know I'm about to tear his ass up. All right. So I came in, I closed the door, and I said, sit in your room and wait for me to come in there. Like, and that's how you know. That's how go sit your ass in that motherfucker. Go sit your ass in that room. And then when you get them, you gotta, ain't I tell you, you gotta have something ready to, you gotta have it chopped and screwed. Ain't I? When I go in there tomorrow, that teacher better not be calling me. Like, it's just like certain shit from our culture that like you can't explain that to like like white kids. You watch this shit on TV. I wish I was never born. Chances are our parents wish that shit too, being black. Like, we was all fucking surprises in this one.
like you stopped that hot girl summer in '87. That you stopped that.
Like, it's certain shit in the culture that is just like, you walk around and everybody has an in memory t-shirt. White people don't walk around. When niggas die with white people, they don't have them the person photoshopped in the clouds.
they don't have parties. They be mad confused. Like when you post a picture at like the funeral and everybody turning up and shit. They don't do that.
Right.
Pool parties, they actually getting in the pool. It's weird.
Like, if I'm ever somewhere and I can't yell Mike Jones, and you don't say who, I'm like, oh, okay. But all right, let me find so going back to we went on like a
back on topic.
On topic. Okay, what is an example of your perfect, I know no relationships are perfect, but as you are, what is Colorado? You still there? You sleep? What you doing, Zoom user?
He's still there.
Okay, you hear caw. Your perfect relationship, the perfect idea, just someone that like compliments you. What is your ideal relationship to be in?
My ideal relationship would be somebody that'll have open-minded conversations with me, somebody that I can chill with, somebody that's really good with my kids.
Okay, kids.
And like, you don't necessarily have to be where you want to be in life, but you're definitely making moves to get there.
Okay. Like specific moods, like calculated when you're like
calculated moves, like you're actually working, like you're grinding. I call you, you're at work. Like you're not just chilling with your homeboys smoking weed on 2K.
So when you say like chilling too, is that just like you're able to exist without having to like perform? Because that's something like, because sometimes Netflix
like we can
literally sometimes Netflix and chill does have like a little bit of pressure on it, like
like we can literally just be hanging out and like not even be having a conversation. It's just cool.
Okay.
Like you don't feel forced to have to talk. You don't feel forced to have to do something. Like it's just natural. It just comes naturally.
Okay. And that obviously comes with spending a little time with that person.
Yeah. Like I can coexist without having to feel like, oh, I got to do this with this person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just natural.
So Chris, you sound like you're in a relationship and you seem pretty happy. Is this like your ideal relationship?
It grew into it. I found that I needed to be her friend and she needed to be my friend before we called each other girlfriend and boyfriend. Like she needed to understand my thought process, how I go about things, especially our different love languages. I'm a person, my love language is spending time. So if I take time out of my day and we do stuff together, I feel loved. I hope that other person feels loved, and that keeps me happy. Hers is gift giving. Like she didn't receive a lot of gifts, or let me say spontaneous gift giving. She didn't receive like a lot of gifts and stuff as a child and stuff. So random Wednesdays, I'll like drop here's $150, go get your nails done or whatever. And she's just happy the entire day. Sometimes I'll just randomly get her things that let her know that I'm thinking about her. And they don't always have to be like expensive or anything like that, but that's her love language. And it's grown to a point where we don't even have to speak when we're in a room. I just automatically know her vibe. She knows mine.
So what do you think, Colorado? Unmute yourself, buddy.
What was the question?
What is your perfect relationship? Your idea of a perfect relationship, a good relationship that, for you?
I mean, my buddy Chris over there hit it pretty well on the head from my 30 years of life on earth. The one thing I notice about relationships is they're never, ever, ever, ever. Do you hear me? When I say never, it's a fact.
Ever.
It's never going to work out if you're not friends, literally friends. Like the person I want to be with, I want to be their best friend. And that's not necessarily saying like, hey, every day we got to go do this, and that. No, I know who you are as a person. I know you don't like doing this. I know you don't want to go out every day. I know that I like playing video games and that I'm going to play video games on maybe Saturday night. So we're coexisting to the point where like, okay, Friday nights is date night, Saturday night, he's probably going to play video games. So I'm probably going to read a book or watch some dumbass shit I want to watch on TV. Literally be each other's best friends. It's not going to work out unless you can't say you love somebody if they're not your best friend for real. Keep it a band. So in hindsight, honestly, if I had to pick a person on earth today to literally spend the rest of my life with and be okay, the only person that's a counterpart of a woman that I can say I would be comfortable with, not even like in love with, but comfortable doing that with, is you. You're my only woman friend that I can literally just hang out with. And like you said, we don't have to have sex. We don't have to do anything. Like we can literally just hang out and watch anime or Disney movies or shit like that. Weird shit. Like that's a friendship. If
and
you're going to be with somebody, you need to have that.
And that's literally why and here's like a funny story. And, I don't know if this is ever going to come up. I recently went to go hang out with him and I walk in and he does not tell me that his little love interest is literally going to be there. So I show up and shit and I'm like,
she's talking about me.
Yeah. And I'm literally like, hey, yo, what's up,
I'm already in trouble.
Why did you say that nigga's name? Oh my God. But okay, we not say no names. But I literally was just like, hey, what's up, everybody? And I'm like, fist bumping and all this shit. And I'm sitting down and I see his girls there and he's like, hey, this is this person. This is this person. And she has her back to me the whole time. And I'm just like, should I tell her that I am not interested in any way? And mind you, I'm trying to make her comfortable. And I'm just like, hey, how's your day going? Hi, I'm so-and-so. And she's just like, hello. And I was just like, oh my God. I don't know. I feel like that comes from, and me and Colorado have had a conversation like that. There are people out here that don't know how to have platonic friendships with the opposite sex, and people that do get upset about your boyfriend having another friend or a girl being around is because they literally fuck every nigga they chill with, or they fuck every girl they chill with. They do not have the capacity to literally be like, hey, what's up? I enjoy your friendship. We grew up together type shit,
Yep. No, I know. Cause I had
how can you
go ahead.
And I was about to say, how can you or anybody on the podcast right now and be like, hey, loved one, significant other, I'm going out right now. And if they don't trust you, how is that anything less than an argument when the next time they see you? You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask y'all this. How do y'all feel about having exes that are still good friends?
So we're exes.
I'm okay with that because for me personally, if our friendship was so great that we could have broken up and still be friends. I have one of my exes is actually one of my really good friends, and nobody can ever understand that. He's actually a really good friend. I can call him right now, if I needed something, and he got me. And that blows everybody. That blows his girlfriend's mind. That blows everybody at date's mind. But we're just really cool. We just I think it's possible. I think the only time it's an issue is if there's still romantic feelings involved.
Right. And I think that you have to trust the person that you're with Like you have to
Ultimately.
you have to trust them. Like it kind of goes back to like, you know, when I said you can't literally live your life in fear that you're going to be cheated on, because there's literally nothing you can do to control that. So it's like, I feel like when it comes to the ex thing, there are certain conversations that are inappropriate. Like for instance, like Colorado and I, we never really, like not even never really, we never ever let it go into a remember that time when we like, you know, it's never
Mhm.
like that. We know that it's certain conversations that we just can't have anymore, like because it's just inappropriate for anyone,
Mhm.
you know. And I want to make sure that the person that I'm dealing with as well, like no bullshit, like if I were to be married, like a married woman, and my husband is to say like, hey, that relationship, you guys calling each other every day is inappropriate and I don't like it, I think out of respect for my marriage, I would have to sit down and tell him like, hey, he doesn't want me to, you know, I'm not saying we can't be friends, but like young, I might say we can't do that anymore. Like, you know, we can't talk anymore. And I don't know how that would make, you know, that person feel. I would definitely not be sneaky about it, like with my husband. Like I'll definitely like, because it's certain things that you can do that's sneaky. Like for instance, like if Colorado was to call me while I'm with my boyfriend or whatever, who, you know, I would answer the phone and I would not have to say you're on speaker. You know, I won't have to say I'm here with the nigga, because that's how like, you know, people are like, you know, being funny. I could just have a fucking conversation because I
Mhm.
know, like, you know, and I feel like over time you would kind of have to have that trust. But I feel like people just moving in relationships not trusting, that is literally baggage that they're carrying from other people that have fucked them up, because they're only acting it with out of what they know. They go into this defensive mode like, oh, those are the cheating signs. In reality, like, you don't know what are the cheating signs for real. Like people that's gonna cheat are gonna cheat.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll never know that they are
I
cheating.
think what my therapist helped me realize is that a lot of people need to put their ego aside. Like
Mhm.
I have a great friend. We dated a little bit when I was in like my sophomore year of college. Sexual relationship, best friend. It didn't work out, but we still talk every day. She has her new relationship. She knows about my relationship that I'm in, and it's one of those conversations I had to have with my girlfriend when she's like, "Did you fuck her?" Yeah, I did, but we're not together. Like I'm not in love with this girl. She's my best friend. I care about her, but I'm not romantically involved with her. And it took her a minute to really let that set in, that this relationship that I had was before her, and we decided to have a mature conversation about where we both stand, and we decided to still be friends. Now, out of respect, if she didn't want me to speak to her anymore because she felt that way, I would need her to tell me that, not just be like, you know, I don't want you talking to her, you know, because she's still trying to get with you and stuff like that, because that's not the relationship that you see. Like, I need you to come out and say, you know, I feel this way about this, and out of respect, I want you to do this
Well,
about
you
it.
know what I've also learned though. Here's another thing. Like, you know, you know the person that you're dealing with. You can tell when someone around them that they're like, oh, it's just my friend. Yeah, you can trust them, but you can tell when another person is in love with the person. Like, you know,
That is true.
you can tell that. And that's another thing that I feel like that will also threaten us in a relationship. Cause it's like, I can be like, no, that bitch is in love with you. I know she's in love with you. She's not crossing a line because she understands, like, you know, whatever. But no, that bitch is in love with you. And I don't think you should hang out with her anymore. Because it's happened so many times where you see like when the relationship is over, oh, the new girlfriend is the girl you told me not to worry about, or the nigga you told me not to worry about, or Tyrone, your trainer from the gym, you know, because that does happen. But I'm saying, like, I guess you can't live in that fear that because you'll never truly be present in your relationship because you are like you I kind of believe that you can never 100 fully percent trust anyone. You can't put shit past anybody. And if you do, you're
Yeah.
dumb as fuck. That's what got us on that slave ship, you know? You know, that's the type of shit where you're just like, oh, a whole dollar, Mr. Barry Gordy, and I got all of my songs. Oh, you know,
Well,
that's what
you can't. I mean, just off of just life. You really can't just trust anybody 100% because you don't know what they're thinking 100%. Even if they tell you, you don't know. That's what it's all about. Like, if you want to be with somebody, you literally got to give up that part of you of that fear.
And
you know what I'm
people don't
saying?
understand relationships is all you literally, people say like, I don't want to put my eggs in one basket. I don't want to do this, but you're literally doing
what
that.
it is.
You're literally, because you can say like, oh, I got my own life. I got other shit going on, but you don't understand how attached you are to a person until you driving to work and they send you that fucking text, we're done. Now you got spicy armpits and now your stomach all fucked up.
Now you playing your fuck nigga playlist.
Right. And now you're just like, damn, and you could very well have a whole fulfilled life, but if like, you don't realize how deep you're in until you're in.
Especially, here's what I've learned though. Like,
until you're out. That's what makes it worse. Like, I'm recovering from some shit and I didn't even you know what I'm saying? I didn't know the ramifications of what I went through. At first, I was like, oh, I just had a kid with somebody. No, bro. Not only did you get married, you tied your finances in with this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Not even a negative sense. That's what you choose. That's what I chose to do unknowingly. And this is the point of this podcast. So people can know going into future relationships. Like, for instance, a lot of people rush into some shit and then get caught up in a situation they didn't even know I was like, man, I'm never gonna be a baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always gonna be like, even if it was worse to worse, I'm always gonna have like some type of relationship with my baby mother. You know what I'm the first, and like that's not what the case is. Now I can't be like, oh, I'm not that nigga. I was never that nigga when I'm that nigga today through circumstances that I never, and the thing is, there's circumstances that I didn't foresee coming that I could have, you know what I'm saying, but I just didn't see coming.
So that leads me to the next question. You're in a relationship, you have a friendship. When do you decide to move in together? When does the move in, does that happen after you talk about marriage and proposal? When does the move in? Because let me tell you something, that kitchen and the bathroom will test your relationship. Okay, my let me let y'all, the kitchen and the bathroom will break any relationship, whether it is your kids putting that one dirty dish after you just done clean the kitchen or your roommate having hair in the tub. When do you decide to move in?
I feel like,
moving in, it's like, okay, we got 24 hours in a day between two of us. We're going to live together. Our finances are going to be tied together because we're moving in now. Whether I pay the rent as a man or whatever the situation is, our finances are getting tied together. You know what I'm saying? So like, your emotions, your finances, you're choosing to see this person ugly and beautiful 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the questions you got to start asking yourself. And if these are the questions you're asking yourself, you're kind of thinking about taking the next step, the third step, the second step, moving in, but you're considering taking the third step.
With finances, do you split the rent?
I feel like that's a conversation y'all should have before y'all even move in together.
Yeah, like, that's an individual basis.
I've been on both sides. Like, I had an ex that moved in with me and was not financially stable, and I made the poor choice of never having the conversation of her finances. And once the relationship was over, I was left in debt and not talking to some of my family. Like, the worst thing is my sister is very close with me, even closer now after this relationship, and it really hurt her that she was trying to give me these warning signs. She's like, hey, you need to have this conversation with her, you need to have this conversation.
What was a warning sign? What was a warning sign?
She went out, her and my ex went out on a date, and they went and got like drinks or something. My ex got drunk, let her know that, she's not financially like intelligent. She doesn't budget correctly sometimes. She kind of puts herself in situations where things become like an emergency. Like, I remember she told my sister like one story. She went out to like Miami, ended up getting like stranded for like 3 days. And my sister's like,
and this was recent?
This is
At the
about
time, the Miami story, it was like a recent thing to your sister, and that's why she was like, "Oh,
yeah.
okay."
And my sister was just like, "Hey, I know you love this girl," because one thing, it was a high school sweetheart. So it was a girl that I was dating in high school. We disconnected, we reconnected, and I was just madly in love with.
How old were you?
And I was 23. So I
Ooh,
just finished, and I had
this is
just
like your
finished
first
college
love.
Look
too.
way better.
Yeah.
First
So it
love. You were
was,
all in.
I was no backup plan either. And
Oh, so you moved in. You're living together, right? So both of your names on the lease.
Both of our names on the
How
lease.
did you not have that conversation? Because I'm sure they ran both of your credit.
They
At
did.
23,
I
it's
had
real critical dumb nigga age.
So the funny thing is, I realized how stupid I was, because what my grandfather taught me is that to always pay things in cash. We never set up a credit system when I was younger. So the only thing on my credit was student loans, and they don't really matter when you're looking for housing. So
Right.
I was able to just get the house. They were like, "Hey, we just want first month, last month's rent." I was
And
like,
you
"Here,
paid
cash."
all of that. Did she give you a dime towards it?
Cash. Nope. The only thing, and we had to drive from like New Jersey to down here to Florida, because my job was down here in Florida.
When you say
So
we, is that it sounds like you?
she
had to-
drove.
You,
She drove.
when you
She,
were the passenger.
she drove 3 hours. She drove 3 hours. I got to take a nap, and then I drove the other 13.
Damn.
So,
I thought she was gonna say the other 3. You should have started with the 13.
nah,
You drove 13 hours. What was you, ice road trucking? Like,
is
I would have woke that bitch up on hour 10 and said, "Hey, you got 6 more."
10? I would have woke her up at 6.
and
Hey, this a relationship. We gonna have with this motherfucker. Isn't that what we talking about? Nigga, we gonna have.
13. What kind of playlist was you?
and looking back, like my sister brings it up every single time that we're talking about, like, she was like, "You were just stupid. Like, you weren't even dumb. You were stupid." So she didn't have a job, because she was gonna look for a job while she was in Orlando.
What kind of job was she going for?
She wanted clerical work. So I was
Billing and coding. That's your first red flag. Them bitches. All of them right now have OnlyFans accounts.
So it hits like a month, and one of the contractors that I'm working for, their business is failing, so they have to basically lay off half the company. So I know I'm about to get laid off, and I'm like, "Here, let's have a talk." This
You're
is
already
my
in
savings.
Orlando at the time.
Yeah.
And mind you, Orlando is like, kind of, for people that aren't familiar with like the Orlando area, there's like the ghetto part and Disney World. Yeah. There's no in between.
Nope.
I'm like watching
it's either you either paying $800 for rent, or you paying $1,700 and living your life.
Right.
So like it hits a point where it's like, yo, this is really serious. I'm about to start dipping into my savings to keep along. I already have another interview and job set up and everything, and I need you to let me know what you plan on doing. Like, are you looking for a job? And my sister was like, "I'll help her." So I go to work during the day. My sister calls her and tries to help her. And she was like, "Chris, this girl does like 3 applications a day through Indeed, and that's it, all day." Just 3 applications.
Here's my question too. Like, okay, so you're dipping into your savings, and like, how long could you have gone just living off of your savings?
I could go like 4 months for the $1,700 a month. I could pay everything, utilities, everything, for like 4 to 5 months without having any help from my family or anything.
And that's scary to think about, because like, okay, say she gets a job, right? It takes you a month to really get paid. You know, when you think about like a good job, the interview process, getting benefits and things like that, like it takes a while for her to even be in a position to contribute. And it sounds like you weren't even asking for like, get a good job, just get a job.
Just have a job, some form of income, and I can take care of the rest. And it hits a point where one day she just has a conversation with her mom, and she's like, "I don't like being down here. I don't feel comfortable." Third red flag, she lived with her mom, and her mom paid for everything.
Before you guys moved?
Before we moved.
Has she ever lived on her own?
No.
Oh, so you were dun, 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 Captain Sabo.
So
Jesus. But you were in love, and I guess like for you to do that, she had to at the time be like filling some type of need. But it
Yeah,
seems
we
like,
do everything when we're in love.
but it seems like
dang.
it was getting when you start, getting to that point where your pocket starts getting hurt. It's not that you're not in love, but you should just start getting a little more frustrating.
Mhm.
I have a question for everybody. It's a weird question. It's because we're all sitting here talking to. Less of a question for Chris, seeing though he's in a relationship and it's working really well for him. The question is, why does it seem that we tend to find people that we date that are less likely to have this same mindset that we have today? Like even able to come together and have these type of conversations. Like we tend to like
I
talk
feel
to people.
as we're younger, we are filling the void of what we were missing from our childhood with someone else that's fulfilling that. So like with my ex, she cared about my feelings. I never really talked so much with my family. She helped me like reconnect with my dad. Um, she, bought me gifts. She made me take care of my hair because I used to have a buzz cut like all the time. She was like, "Hey, take care of your hair, grow your hair out." Um, bought me like all these toiletries and stuff. Made
It
sure that
sounds
my
almost
hygiene
like
and stuff was nice.
almost like she was like a mom.
Right,
Almost.
That's like
And
mom
right.
shit.
and the
But
funny
like that's
thing
what
is,
he's saying. That's what
I
he's
talked to my
saying.
therapist, and my therapist is like, your mom wasn't really around. Even though my mom is great, my mom is amazing, but she was not there because she was working all the time. 3 p.m. hits, and I'm in
Military.
Heidelberg, Germany.
Mm-hmm,
Got it.
I figure out
mm-hmm.
what I'm doing for the next 5 hours. My mom gets home at 8. I spend 2 hours, ask her how her day was. I'm off to bed, start the next thing the next day. So it was a point where I was filling a void that I had felt that I needed filled, and somebody was doing it. Um, Looking back now, I'm
Oh,
just like, even with my new
that therapy
relationship,
session for
I'm
me.
covering all the red flags that I had before.
And I feel like sometimes with some people, you and I think sometimes I have dated people like this. You like to date someone that is kind of ungettable. Some people
Mhm.
like that. It's a thing where some people kind of like the chase. They like the idea of like winning something. Like because I think that is something that I have had to realize, and it's not like necessarily I like the bad boy or anything like that. It's just that I don't like men that let me walk all over them, you know? And it's not like I necessarily saw that growing up or anything. And it's not like, I definitely like for a man to lead. And a lot of times when men are confident enough to be leaders, they kind of carry themselves as like, I like a woman, but I don't need a woman. And, and I find that I'm attracted to that. And that's why so many women end up falling in love with their boss, because it's just like you have that sense of like power. It's certain men that carry themselves like that. They're never broke, because someone that understands like and just carries themselves like I can do anything, to me, that is the most attractive thing. But sometimes that leads you to be in a relationship with someone that really doesn't truly value you because they may be seeing like, I value myself. I know everything. You just sit here and look pretty. Like that is something that I feel like, and it's super dangerous too, because with the Kevin Samuel shit, with the you need to be submissive, a lot of women, they look at things now like they're willing to deal with not really being a whole person and not having a whole personality or contribute just for the sake of not having to work, just for the sake of having a man financially take care of them. And I feel like in a sense I don't agree with that's why women are here. Where I do believe that women definitely we're very good at supporting, But all women, I don't know. Because I do believe that there's a lot of women that, you know, I personally look up to. One of my idols is Hillary fucking Clinton. Say what you want about her, but she's definitely a woman that knows how to exist as a woman and also be a leader and go toe to toe. Like there have been times, like old debates, you know, that I've seen with Hillary Clinton, like running for senator, where like a man has walked over to her podium and got in her space, and she could have like handled herself like a man, but instead she didn't. So she still in a way handles herself like a woman, but she still was like direct. And I feel like sometimes we don't understand, like when we're getting to know people in relationships, we kind of just like, a lot of people don't know what the fuck they want or even what the fuck they like. They only base what they're looking for on what they don't like. Like they just know, like, I didn't like this and this about my ex. And you're already kind of going into a relationship like with a negative mindset. You know, you're not looking at, I can't wait to have that. I can't wait to have that. I don't want a nigga like this. I'm FREE fuck nigga free. Like, you know, and I feel like it's just such a negative mindset that we have, you know? I want to, by the way, I want to pause the recording right here and take a quick break because I have to pee. Okay. And then we'll come back. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to pause it. All right, guys. Welcome back to the BABECAST podcast. And we are talking about everything with dating. We just covered moving in together. The next big topic that I wanted to talk about that no one really wants to talk about, but I feel like every couple deals with it sometime: unplanned pregnancy. Pregnancy scares. How the fuck do you deal? Do you have a story? Have you dealt with certain shit? Like, what happens? And because, you know, this is like a pretty hot topic right now, especially since abortion may be off the table. Like, what the fuck happens? Like, if someone is like, hey, period is missed.
Oh my God. So both of my kids were from unplanned pregnancies.
Okay.
So with my oldest, me and her father weren't really like serious like that. So it was kind of like but at that point in time, I was just like, nope, like I'm gonna just be a mature person, like, you know what I'm saying? So I have my oldest child, and then my youngest child, me and her father relationship was kind of, we were on at that time, but it was still like
rocky
shit. Yeah, it was shit with that. And
so how was your pregnancy?
Both of them were kind of like, when you are pregnant by someone that you're not in a stable relationship with, it sucks. Like, it completely sucks. Like, that is a horrible shit. That is something that's supposed to be really beautiful and magical and stuff. That's supposed to be like the best time of your life. And it really sucks when you go through it. And even if you're not really necessarily alone, you feel like mentally alone, like emotionally alone, like your emotional needs aren't being taken care of, and your hormonal, like,
I found myself when I was pregnant with MJ.
it was depressing.
I'm not even gonna lie. I did not want to be a mom. Like, I have no problem like telling anyone that. So just in case there's anyone in the podcast that's just like, you know, I will be the first bitch to admit it. When I found out I was pregnant, and I remember taking that ultrasound, when they were like, oh, look at that, right? I said, look at what? What's forming? What's forming? And I broke down crying, and the doctor was like, do you need a minute? And I was like, I was literally like, I'm not even at the abortion clinic. I was like, I'm doing the math. I was like, can I get an abortion? They were like, we may have to refer you to. So like, I literally like, and what was crazy about that shit, I ended up telling one of my friends that I was pregnant. Like, I was hiding it from, like, you know, MJ's dad. He ended up calling me and being like, let's have this baby. And I was like, whoa, we're not even
like, first off, how did you even hear about this?
Right. And then like at the time I was like, we're not even together. Like, this is like a big ask. And then I remember like telling my mom, being like, Mom, I'm pregnant. What am I going to do? Mind you, I'm like 23 at the time. And she's just like, aren't you an early childhood development major? Isn't all your credits on this shit? You don't think you're ready? And I literally, mind you, a week before dropped acid. And I was just like, I am pregnant. My kid is literally going to come out like 11 on Stranger Things. Like, I'm literally like, I was just not ready, because I think I understood, like, it's different being a mom in the sense of when you're pregnant, it takes so much to be considered a bad mom. And no, it takes so little to be considered
it takes
a bad
so
mom,
little,
but so little also to be considered a great dad. Like, his dad went to like an ultrasound with me, played fucking Flappy Bird the whole time, and niggas was like, you're such a great dad, look at this nigga in there. And I'm literally getting like stuck and prodded with a bunch of shit, and I'm just like, but I have one glass of wine, and everyone is like, look at this hot girl here, look at this hoochie
girl.
fast
They
ass
were doing
bitch.
that shit with me for coffee. coffee. Like, motherfuckers be like, you supposed to be eating that? Like,
I remember, and this is going to tie the guys in with like a follow-up question. I remember when I was about 6-7 months pregnant, and I'm in the kitchen, because there got to a point in time I was living on my own when I found out I was pregnant, and then I just moved back in with my parents for like the rest of my pregnancy, because MJ's dad, we didn't have an apartment, like, and I just like, I didn't know how long I was going to work, like I was just like, fuck it, I'll move to VA with my family, and at least I know the niggas is, I won't be trying to figure shit out while I'm pregnant. And I remember being in the kitchen with my dad, and I was like, Dad, when you found out, because I'm your oldest, that my mom was pregnant, were you scared? Because, his dad at the time was like, oh, I got a kid on the way, I don't know, And I was like, Dad, were you scared? Were you? And he looked at me and he was like, that's the most ghetto shit I've ever heard in my life. He was like, when your mom told me she was pregnant, it was no question. I just knew that this was something that I just had to 100% do. Like, it was no question. Guys, y'all being men, like, when your girlfriend comes from girlfriend to baby mom, mother of my child, or if you've ever been in a situation like that, or even a pregnancy scare, because I don't know, Chris, like, if that's been your, what goes on in the mind of a man?
So I had I would say, lucky enough to have a pregnancy scare in high school that set me straight. So especially being in Heidelberg at the time, it really rocked the foundation of like how I thought I should be planning my life. So I was stupid. I was a stupid teenager, just hitting raw every day. 1 month she's just like, hey, I missed my period, we need to have this talk. Her family didn't like me.
Was she a white girl? You were in Heidelberg.
She was Hispanic.
Okay. Oh, they're fertile. You sneeze around a Hispanic bitch, and she's like, niños.
And it turns out that she wasn't pregnant, but for that whole 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. Like, I was so scared. I didn't
playing
know
Guitar
what
Hero and shit. Like, like, what does a high school kid like do with like high school? Like, you literally, you gotta raise your hand to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was a badass kid in high school. Like, I was one of those people that was too smart for their own good, so I didn't want to hear anything that anyone was trying to tell me. So I was on the verge of actually getting kicked out and sent back to the States. And then the pregnancy scare happened. I was like, oh, my ass is gone anyway, so let me go ahead and try to figure my shit out.
All right, to Colorado.
I mean, my baby mother pretty much got pregnant like 2 or 3 times before she actually had the
not trying to put it out there, but the Supreme Court, that's these bitches like that. No, sorry, I'm sure your baby mothers are wonderful, but they like, wait a minute, this is a one time. This ain't plan C. Overturn it. Overturn it.
I never really had pregnancy scares, so that shit is crazy. I don't know.
She's also Hispanic. I also wanted to have that.
Yeah.
She was pregnant 54 times before we actually.
And what's weird, what's really weird about it is even after the pregnancy scare, I was still hitting raw. Like,
Yep,
I don't know.
you was. I know you was. Nigga.
It's just like, nigga, did you not learn the first time?
Bro, like, I feel like
You was still a teenager too? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm just gonna be like, I hated being pregnant. I just hated feeling like I'm part of this club, this not pregnant club. And now all of a sudden, because when you get pregnant, it's just a list of shit you can't do. People just start telling you,
oh, like, can't do it.
I could literally be reading a book and people be like, you're not going to have no time to read books anymore. Like, everything is about the baby. Like, I would literally be eating a sandwich at Subway. And mind you, I worked at Subway, and they'd be like, you can't eat raw meat. Like, what the fuck? I'm not some Rottweiler. I can't eat bologna now. Like, everything
I did the research on that 1% chance of listeria, depending on how the meat is stored.
One time I had sushi and they were like, you can't eat sushi. That's not good for pregnant women. And I'm like, are y'all telling this to women in Japan? Like, what? Like, you're just get out of my face, that dumb shit. But I feel like, I don't know. I had an okay pregnancy. What's funny, the pregnancy actually it made it real for like both of us to step up, because I think we still, when the baby was first born, we were still trying to be these cool parents. We were trying to be the cool parents. But literally there was that underlying shit started getting real, because like when you have a kid in your relationship, it's not that it's like everything is not about you, but it kind of is, in a sense that like, for once I had, so I didn't realize I was dealing with postpartum depression, like bad. Not only was I dealing with that, I was dealing with an existential crisis. Like, it happened as soon as my baby was born, because like, you know, when they one thing I was really scared of wasn't the delivery at all. I was scared of holding my kid for the first time. And like, you know how women are like, that moment in your life when you meet your kid, it's going to be like a love you never felt before. I was scared of that shit, because I was like, bro, I don't even have a phone contract now. I don't commit to shit. Like, what is that gonna feel like when I have this kid and I hold him? Like, what is that gonna feel like? So I had my kid. That never happened. I was just like, the baby's here. Like, you know, here's the baby. And the panic started sitting in when my parents walk into the living room and they're like, hey, Ashley. And my dad's holding my kid. And I was like, he's a granddad. My granddad is dead. My parents are going to be old one day. My parents are going to die someday. Holy shit. And from that moment on, I spiraled through this weird fucking depression where I was just like, I didn't want to be a mom. And I didn't realize that was postpartum depression, because being a mom made it feel real. And then I didn't realize that it was having a big effect on my relationship, because like, mind you, this nigga is like stepping up being a dad and trying to be like, oh, the baby's crying, and I'm just thinking like, fuck that kid, shut him up, shut him the fuck up. Like, you know, and he's just, hush little baby, and meanwhile I'm smoking cigarettes and blowing him out the window in the bathroom with the door closed. Like, it was just so much that was going on, and I didn't realize people are like, it's not going to be about you. But being a parent, for some people, I feel like a lot of people lie when they say, when you have this kid, everything changes and you just like love this kid and everything changes. Because for some people, it's not that. Because I kind of had the mindset, how am I going to love this guy? I don't even fucking know homie like that. Like, you know, not even trying to be funny. Like, and then it kind of created a little bit of like, you did this to me, looking at his dad. Like, you know, and then he had the option of like, I can drink Mountain Dew. Well, I'm fucking breastfeeding, so I can't. Like, it started creating that must be nice, bitch. You know? So I don't know.
Yeah, and I had that in the delivery room with my second child. Like, because I just remember being in so much pain in labor and this motherfucker's just sleep.
Oh, how about you can't eat at all during labor? And this nigga decides he real DC
He
nigga.
said, I'm hungry. I'm about to go out and eat.
Yeah, he brought curry out, chicken wings and fries, mambo sauce in
With
the
the mambo sauce
in the delivery room. So I'm sitting,
the mambo sauce.
I'm sitting here, contractions. Mind you, I'm having contractions and they're like reading the contractions. When you have contractions, it looks like they're fucking like monitoring an earthquake. You just see like shit coming out and it's coming out of these papers. And this nigga just sitting over here like, and I'm just like looking at him. He chilling, kick back big, watching Space Ghost on the hospital TV and shit. I'm like, might as well plug in your game. Like, bro, and I'm over here like, can I get the epidural? like just he just thinking like, oh, I got some time, and maybe this gonna be my boy. Like, well. So I guess we had a good talk. To wrap things up. So if we were to come up with a guidebook, I guess during the talking stage, sex is okay. However, ghosting is not. Those are some rules that we came up with. You should be comfortable enough with someone during the talking stage to figure out when to walk away and have enough courage to say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. Politics are okay to talk about and is necessary. However, not on the first date.
Yeah.
Moving in together, we've learned that you move in when you are financially ready. You got to get the Kelly Blue Book on that bitch. You gotta pull up your Credit Karma, bitch. Let me see that shit.
Or at least have the financial conversation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if someone is telling us any Miami stories, I feel like is the consensus. At this point, if you a bitch, you don't even talk about being in Miami. Like nothing good happens in Miami
ever. And not even plastic surgery ever here.
Right.
A lot of good stuff happens in Miami. What are y'all talking about?
For niggas, a lot of good shit happens in Miami.
No, but that's the thing though. The bitches that are going to Miami, you niggas know what's going on in Miami because you know that's why you going to Miami. The chick is up. Like if I go to Miami, like literally I'm going like for business, but I don't know, like I've never had like a hot girl Miami trip. Like, I don't know.
It's a different kind of wild. I will tell you that.
Yeah. And I don't even, and maybe that's another conversation for another podcast too. Like, I don't even have like hoe friends. Like all of my friends, like, it's funny because I joke and shit. People think that I would be the hoe friend. Like literally for my birthday last year, I went to a carnival. I went to like a state fair. I'm eating like a bacon wrapped grilled cheese. I'm like literally I'm walking around like, hey, welcome to Diners, Driving and Dives with all my carnival food and shit. And we came home and we watched like old MTV and bitches were like literally like, well, my nigga calling me, I'm going home, bye. Like I don't like doing
you don't
hoe
distance
shit.
yourself from your hoe friends.
Yeah,
I'm gonna assume you being a hoe too. I'm gonna just put that right there.
That's true.
Yeah.
You can be friends with them, but if you don't distance yourself from them, I'm just assuming you doing hoe shit.
I don't even have like I had a friend recently and I've cut her off about this. One day we sit down to brunch and she was like, this is how she starts brunch. She goes, bitch, I've been fucking this nigga and he's married and everything. And I was like, let me stop you right there. This ain't Sex in the City, okay? I don't want to hear about your hoe stories while I'm eating my motherfucking waffles. Like, like I don't know what gave off. Tell me about that shit, but it's a no for me, dog.
Like I appreciate that you could come to me with this in confidence, but I don't need it.
Nah, because like, and then the other thing too, I was like, show me what the wife looked like, because if this bitch walk in here, she throwing a drink on you, like, because I'm motherfucking telling, bro. People like that be the reasons why this shit gets shot up.
Mm-hmm.
Hoe shit is not that. And then like bitches too be getting like trains ran on them in Miami and shit. Like, my nigga. What?
Like even with niggas too. Like if I have a friend, like good guy friend, and I know he's wilding, and I know his mama, his girlfriend shoots, like I am telling, like I'm not getting shot for you.
No, sir.
No, because let me tell you about like Miami too. Like, first of all, this is the niggas' uniform in Miami. They got some swim trunks, no shirt, and a backpack on. That's like maybe a Gucci belt. Like that's, and then they got every chain that they've ever owned stacked up. Like that's what the fuck. And I just like, I don't know, like, and it's crazy because everybody in Miami is not from Miami. Miami is like the new Vegas and shit. Like it literally, like I don't even be on a strip, dog. I don't even feel comfortable being on the strip. Like when I go to Miami, I literally be at an Airbnb and I be sitting on the porch. Like if I'm in Miami, just know that I went there for some surgery. Like every time I go to Miami, I come back with new shit. But all right, so I just want to thank everyone for listening, just being a part of BABECAST. Tune in for our next episode. I'm sure you're gonna love it. Yes, and support by subscribing, be a subscriber, and also like, share, and comment on this video. All right, bye everyone.